We have 4 Christians
I am a Christian.
I am a Christian.
I am a Christian.
I am a Christian.
asking questions to 3 student teachers of the Master Teacher.
You guys all should be Christians, because I swear,
listen.
because every time I ask you a question,
This is 4 versus 3. Can they answer everything? On OSM Vision.
If you'd like to be part of a future video, email us at info@osmvision.co.uk.
Who are you? How old are you? And what do you do?
My name's IK. I'm 37 and I'm an events planner.
my name is Reverend Dr. Canon Augustine Tannerheim, or just Gus, and I'm 35 years old.
My name is Resham Jazzy. I am now 72 and I'm an events manager and I also work in immigration.
My name is Jennifer. I am a HIV phlebotomist and / radio presenter, and I'm age 54.
What denomination/type of Christian are you?
Well, I don't understand denomination. It's not Roman Catholic, it's not Protestant, it's Latter-day Saints, which to the common person is known as Mormon, but we take offense at that word Mormon. So it's Latter-day Saints of Jesus Christ.
I'm Church of England Christian.
Denomination currently is evangelical and I'm a born again Christian.
So I'm an Anglican, and I'm with the Church of England.
Who is Jesus to you?
Jesus to me is the Son of God, the Savior of the universe, and the liberator of all things.
Son of man, Son of God, and the world Savior.
Jesus to me is the Son of God and God in human flesh.
Jesus to me is all seeing, all being, my eyes and my ears, and everything inside of me.
Do you believe in aliens?
I don't think so.
Depends what you mean by aliens, but I do believe that there are angels and demons.
Absolutely, very, very strongly. I definitely believe there's something out there.
Yes, I do believe there's another being out there, yes.
If you could ask the Creator / Most High One question and get a clear answer, what would you ask?
I think to have a clear answer, I would ask them why was it somehow necessary to have colonialism? That's probably what I would ask, is like, why does white people have superiority within the human race, and could you have stopped that at any point?
Right now, probably ask him to show me something that I need to know that I don't know.
Why is there so much suffering in the world?
I'd ask God to come and take his world because humans are ungrateful.
What is your favorite Bible verse and why?
I've got many, but there's one in Psalms 23 that says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want."
My favorite Bible verse is Paul's letter to the church in Ephesus. So Ephesians 3:14-21. And Paul basically tells the church in Ephesus to the empowerment prayer. And it's basically saying, the length, the height, the depth of God's love for us. And I absolutely love that for encouragement and empowerment.
Well, I really don't remember any Bible verses offhand.
My favorite Bible verse is a line in there where the name Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego is, and hence why I chose Meshach as my son's name.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how open are you to changing your mind today? Honestly?
Scale from 1 to 10, I am open to learning new things. I'm not sure about changing my mind, so I'll give you a 5.
I'm pretty open to change my mind. I'm a theologian and a psychologist, so I'm open to change my mind of different things. I think you have to have an open mind because we have an open God who continues to enlighten other people. So 1 to 10, maybe 6, 7. I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't.
1 to 10, I would say about 8.
I'd say a 6.
What's one belief you have that not everyone may agree with?
I have a theory about, and this kind of contradicts with Christianity, but I have a theory that going on the theory of evolution, I believe that, this is just me, I believe that if you look at the image the scientists will put an ape and then up to today in a man. Now, I would say that somewhere in there is human beings before the ape image or after the last ape image, before the man. In between, there's a black person, a very black person, and then there's lighter black people and they get lighter. So I believe if we evolved from apes, then the darker the skin, the closer to the older you are, if that makes sense.
One belief that I have that everyone may not believe in is the fact that God is love.
I believe the Bible is a sacred book, but I don't believe that it's inerrant.
One belief I believe is that God is already inside us. That's my belief, yeah.
If you've made it this far, that's fantastic. It means you're taking in the content. So the most important parts are generally at the end. So don't skip, stay with it, and make sure that you comment.
Rohubat, which is greetings. I am AnkhTwy Re Atam Hatap, one of the many student teachers of the master teacher, Barnabas Yananan, affectionately referred to as Baba Yanun, Galactic master teacher of heaven and earth, incarnated deity who incarnates into the body of His Excellency, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York Okran, 33 degrees over 720 degrees.
Rahubat, which means greetings. My name's Sakam Reye. I'm also one of the millions of student teachers of the master teacher, Barnabas Yanun. Many know as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York. We are the new teachers of the new cycle of the 24,000 year sun cycle, which began in the year 2000 AD. And our job is to share the knowledge that we've been taught by way of the master teacher.
Rahubat, I am Usier Ka Reye, student teacher, again of the many student teachers of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Kobina Z. York Okran. And we're here to uplift humanity and bring them to the conscious and awareness of what day and time we're living in.
Sorry, do you guys mind introducing yourselves?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My name is Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, nice to meet you. What else would you like to know?
No, whatever, so I know who we're referring to. Okay.
I work in the NHS. I'm a HIV phlebotomist, and I'm a radio presenter as well.
Okay.
And I'm a mother of one and a grandma of three.
Oh,
Yeah.
My name's IK. I do events, and yeah, I don't have any children. No, I'm not. I can't say I'm a father of three or anything, but yeah, I'm glad to be here today.
Hi, okay.
I am Resham from India originally. I do events as well, and I also work in immigration.
Okay, nice to meet you. Roshan, is it?
Resham
Resham.
means silk.
Hello, uncles. My name is Augustine, or you say Gus is easiest. I'm originally from Chicago, as you can tell by my accent.
Okay.
But I'm a vicar in the Church of England in Manchester, and I'm also a psychologist.
So you're Christians?
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
Oh, specifically to me? It's how I was brought up. Yeah, I was brought up in the Christian household. So it means to me loving and God. Yeah, that's what it means to me.
Okay. And you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I was brought up in a Christian home as well, and yeah, to me, it's about love, and you know, I've been taught like in the Bible it says that God is love, so I think love's very important.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't born into a Christian family, but I'm a very studious person. We had religious classes in school in those days. I don't think they have them now, I don't know. But so I was always going into mine. I even had an extra religious class during lunchtime. And I really got into believing it. And now I belong to the LDS. And what does it mean to me? It means strong, disciplined guidance in your life, and you have any problems, you look to the Bible, you'll find your answer.
Okay. And finally,
Yeah, I wasn't raised a Christian. Wasn't raised. I became a Christian in high school, and I think that conversion at first was definitely more emotional. But then as I've gotten older and did a PhD in theology, and then did almost done with my PhD in psychology, it became more of an intellectual pursuit as well, and looking at data over dogma for me. So, who is Jesus? Jesus is to me the liberator and Messiah of all.
Well, actually, that's what a Christian meant to you, but that's fine.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. So yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Christianity. Yeah.
I know you said Church of England,
Yeah.
Church of
and you said
LDS or something.
Church of England as well.
Church
yeah.
of England, right?
Yeah.
What about you two?
I'm currently in the evangelical church.
Evangelical, and
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Okay.
right. This is the last question, but then you guys can ask us questions. Do you guys speak the languages of the scriptures?
No.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
can
I
ask
do.
us-
Yeah.
The floor's open.
Sorry?
You speak the languages.
Yeah. So
Greek.
Well, I know Greek and Hebrew.
Okay.
I had to get a PhD.
Okay.
So yeah, and just a little bit Aramaic.
Okay.
But obviously that's a whole low discussion. But yeah, I can read the original language. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, fire away. Any questions you have for us?
What is that symbol on your jacket? Is that Egyptian or?
Yeah. Okay. So Resham. Yeah. This symbol is known as a double Ankh. Okay.
Okay. I've
Referred
heard
to.
that word.
Okay. Referred to as the AnkhTwy in the original hieroglyphic language, because people think hieroglyphs is just the symbols. It's actually a language as well. So that language, it breaks down to mean AnkhTwy, and this represents something we refer to, and the master teacher Dr. Malachi has referred to as the double resurrection, a resurrection of mental state as opposed to a sleeping state, where you're now liberated mentally and free from all the religious ideologies, mistranslations, falsehoods, etc. Now you've mentally resurrected, and also represents something we refer to as the hereafter. Okay, we say the hereafter because it goes into a cycle, and that cycle is what many of us are not aware of, that we've actually entered into a new cycle of time. And that cycle we refer to as the hereafter, which this is symbolic of. Okay.
And if I may just add a little bit to that, when you look at a symbol, crosses, whatever, they tell 1,000 words, as they say, because a picture can tell 1,000 words. So when you look at the cross, a lot of Christians wear the cross, but they don't realize that the symbols have evolved over many years. So the Ankh in ancient Egypt was where the Christian cross evolved from, and it's referred to as the key of life. Yeah, because obviously in Christianity, the cross represents the time when Jesus was apparently crucified and died. So there's a big difference or contrast between life and death. So this being double is dealing with, as my brother said, the double resurrection, which in Christianity people teach. I see they teach about there's going to be a time that comes where you will be, what's the word? Like 144,000 will be, there's a word I'm looking
Christ
for.
consciousness or whatever.
Yeah, it's more to do with being born again and being saved and going to be with Jesus and that kind of thing and be with God. So I don't know if you want to add anything to the AnkhTwy.
No, that's all right.
Right, go ahead, brother. So you've got a flag.
Yeah, thank you. And I have to say, because of how I was raised, I ask these questions in all respect and love as my elders. Yeah, I have no idea how old you are, so I don't know how. But I know you two are my elders for sure. So, what did you mean by a parent's crucifixion?
Because there's a lot of information that is said, but without any factual evidence.
Because there's not. I mean, even within the academy, within universities, there isn't. We can argue about data-wise, not dogma, about the understanding of the resurrection. Is that true? Things like that. But the idea that there was a person that was named Jesus in ancient Israel, Palestine, that was crucified. That's kind of like that's a fact.
I'm not saying that it's like today. There were many methods, even like, you know, the American government, they use like the electric chair to crucify people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there were different methods of unaliving people back then. But what I'm saying is, you said about there was a person called Jesus. Firstly, that is in itself something that there's no facts, because even the name Jesus, right? If there were no J's until
1665,
it would be impossible to use and make up that word.
Well, I mean, we're speaking in English, aren't we?
Exactly. That's
So
why.
Yeshua HaMashiach,
Right. But
right?
you see
in
how you've
Hebrew.
changed it now.
What because we're speaking in English. That's why I'm using. That's why
but
I'm
that's
using
what I'm saying
English.
to you. So if I called you Mark and your name is Peter, it's a big difference, right?
Yes, because we're still speaking the same language.
No, because when you take it into Hebrew, into another language, it means something completely different. That's why I asked originally about the language, because
But your assertion is not backed up with data. What's the data behind it?
okay, let's go back to the original point. Where's the evidence of him being crucified?
There's not a single scholar. I mean, even for instance, Bart Ehrman, who's a biblical scholar at University of North Carolina, who's one of the most premier biblical scholars, he is an atheist, and he still would say there was a person named Jesus who lived and died in first century Palestine.
That's hearsay.
That's hearsay.
I mean,
When I say hearsay,
that's based on academic data.
No, I'm saying you're quoting books and writings of people that said that happened. There's a big difference to finding DNA evidence or actual like evidence to prove that took place.
I mean, we have a whole curriculum called textual.
No, but when you say we and we have a whole curriculum, that's what I'm saying. Like, there is misinformation and there are things that are taught about this character and this person that existed. But what I'm saying is there's a big distortion as to who that really is and whether or not the stories that have been passed over for years in the last 2,000 years. So, okay, as a Christian, do you follow both the New Testament and the Old Testament?
Yes, I follow all the 66 books of the canon.
Right. So Christianity of 2,000 years ago, which is dealing with Jesus's history and life, it's not just what you follow as a Christian. Because I'm trying to understand where the word Christian even started from. Where did it come from? Where did it begin? Because in the Bible, he didn't refer to himself as a Christian. And he didn't refer to himself as Jesus. And his followers were never called Christians by him, according to the books. So where does all this come from, this Jesus and Christianity? Because you can actually look in the Bible and it tells you where he was not referred to as Jesus.
I mean, I would love to. I want to answer, but I also don't want to be the only one speaking.
No, please, no.
Go ahead. I'm sure there's Resham's got a question as well. So.
You mentioned earlier Jesus, the name.
Yeah.
J not existing until whatever date. And I wasn't aware of that. But the Mexicans...
Sorry, because you weren't aware of that, it's because there are no J's or V's in Hebrew.
Okay, I
So you
understand
can't
that. And
make
that
up
I
that word.
only just became aware of that.
Mm.
But to answer that question, Mexicans and Spanish are maybe, they don't call him Jesus, they call him Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So the J is an H.
Mm-hmm.
And in the East, in India and nearby countries, they're called Isu.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So different nationalities call him they don't actually use the J so as much. So
But that's the point we're
That's the
making.
point
That's
we're
one
making.
of those
Like,
names
if
is
your
called-
name is Resham, I can't
Yeah.
call you Sarah.
no.
Right,
But-
so when you change the name, this is why I asked about the Old Testament. It says not one jot or tittle should be changed from the scriptures.
That's
So
true.
when you start to change and distort things, it changes the names and the meanings. So, for example, he was never known, even the word, if I said, what does the word Yahshua means? What does it mean?
Yahshua, Joshua.
Okay,
It
both of
would
them are
be Joshua.
from
The
the
contraction
same.
is from
Yeah,
the
but what does it
Going
mean?
on, that just came. Joshua is also in the Bible, so obviously J existed, unless it wasn't Joshua, it was Joshua
Exactly.
or something like similar.
Right.
But obviously, through the years, people, it's like a story changing. So names
Right, that's what I'm
change.
saying. So a lot
Names
of
change according to the country, according to the language. Certain letters don't exist in certain languages,
okay,
or even words.
my point is, you can't change the scriptures to suit whatever day and time you're in, because it says not one jot or tittle should ever change, right? The point we're making is that the story that's become the story of Jesus is a borrowed story from other cultures and ancient scriptures. So when you're saying Yahshua, that's why I asked, what does Yahshua mean? Because it actually means savior, right? But he was called a Messiah or a Messiah, which means anointed, because it tells you in the books of Acts, we have found a Messiah who's been interpreted the Christ. And not
Well, it's anointed one, not anointed. Anointed and anointed one are two different things.
Well, anointing is anointing. There are many people that have been anointed.
No, those are two different terms in Hebrew.
Are you saying he's the only person that's ever been anointed?
No, they say he's the anointed one.
The first, yeah?
The anointed one, which means
That's what. Okay, let's
because I'm saying you can have anointing, but it's anointed one. Those are two separate. Sorry, two separate
okay.
things.
But what I'm saying
flagging
is,
my thing.
we're coming to you. We just have
Okay,
to finish the
cool.
point.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're saying the anointed one as if he's the only one that's ever been anointed.
The title, if the title was the anointed one, anointing, having the anointing is obviously all throughout.
What's the difference in terms of what you're trying to say?
The anointed one is Messiah.
The first.
No, it's not.
Because what's his name? David was anointed.
He was anointed. He wasn't the anointed one.
Okay. What I'm saying is, if there are more than one, if there's more than one person anointed, that's many people being anointed. He's not the only one person that's been anointed. So when the point you're making about anointed one, I don't understand. Like, can you clarify that?
So sorry. So Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Messiah, right, in English, he is talked about throughout Scripture, especially in Isaiah, as the anointed one, right? And then also people, different leaders, David, Jonathan, different leaders have anointing from God, but he's the anointed one, the one that would the rescuer, the liberator, type of thing like that. And those two are different things. But having anointing just means that the Spirit is upon you.
That's not correct as the part of the scriptures.
That's
what I'm saying. That's what you're
that's
making. You're making it
interpretation.
as if he's the only
The one.
but that's not the truth. There have been people anointed before him and people anointed after him.
I said there's people anointing after, people anointing before. But the anointed one, his title, which he has.
Which is what? What makes that different?
Because that's what Jesus, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Messiah. Messiah means the anointed one.
Yeshua means savior and Messiah means anointed.
Anointed one.
It doesn't mean anointed one. That's what I'm saying. You're adding the anointed one.
In Greek and in Hebrew.
It actually comes from the word Christos. The word, because that's where you get Christ from.
Yeah, which is
from Christos, right?
Yes,
which is going to a Hindu word, which is also related to Krishna. So what I'm saying is, you have to look.
Can you give me data for that?
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. If you look,
because I've never. I mean, Christos is a Greek word,
right? Which became Christ.
What's the language of the Greek? Where does that come from? What's Greek actually language derived from?
We don't know.
Yes, we do. It's Indo-European.
It's what?
It's an Indo-European language.
Okay.
So Indo tells you it's from India. So yeah, go and look up Spanish, Greek, Latin, Roman, Portuguese. They're all Indo-European languages. So the word Indo is denoting that it's an Indian derivative. So all these words like the brother just mentioned regarding Christ or Christ or Karast is coming from the Krishna. That's the derivative of it. It's derived from that word.
I will.
Which is really Sanskrit.
I will definitely give you respect to say that there is, without a doubt, older data to say that there's Christ-like or Messiah-like history or tales in different ancient religious cultures outside of Christianity that people have said, just as a scholar, I can admit that people have said, actually, this idea of Jesus being born of a virgin and the whole story is something that people have felt, other scholars have felt, this is borrowed from ancient religions. I'll give you, without a doubt.
Well, even if you just look at the dates, that's why I say, like, modern day Christianity is only 2,000 years old. And Hebrew, when you go to the Old Testament, is 4,000 years old. And the history of the planet and people on the planet goes back millions and millions of years. So you can easily correlate where they get the stories from ancient teachings and languages to come into English. But the point we were really trying to get through was that a lot of changes have been made. There's a lot of distortion to the story of the person that's been referred to as Christ. And we can go into that in more detail, but I know the two of you had your flags.
Right. This is just going to be a question that I'm going to ask. So if I've offended you, forgive me.
No, it's fine.
Please, was you growing up to be a Christian before you got into Dr. L. York, is it you said? Or did you always know about him?
Yourselves, we can speak for ourselves, but I grew up in a Christian family and went to church and studied the Bible and all of that. And I had many, many questions that the church couldn't answer. My parents couldn't answer. Many people couldn't answer the questions. So I went about researching and studying for myself to get the answers. And I basically went on a long journey before I arrived at the teachings of Dr. Malachi Z. York. And he was the only person who could answer all the questions. So that's how I started studying with him. And he's a linguist, a scholar, published many books, at least 1,000 books, covering every subject. So that's how my journey began to get into where we are today. I don't know if you guys were.
Similar, really. You start off, being raised I was raised Anglican. Went to several different churches because family were all like in different denominations. But the questions were coming, what's this? How does this link to this? Who's this person? What does this name mean in the Bible? I couldn't get a full understanding until I started doing my research. When I started doing my research, I came across books that refer to those particular names in ancient books, that predate the Bible. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. How does something predate if this was supposed to be the first? See what I'm saying? So that's how my logical reasoning started to come in, and from there, I came across Dr. Malachi Z. York.
Okay.
Just like to say that my family, my parents weren't into religion, but they were into spirituality. So when I come across the master teacher, it was just like another transition. And with that being said, we have to mention about the master teacher and who he is and his qualifications. This is what he says. He is a master teacher, and this is what he says. And a lot of in the diaspora is the students that refer to their teacher as a master teacher, as opposed to their teacher referring to himself as a master teacher. Now, he is a spiritual master. A spiritual master is one who has mastered the physical and spiritual realms. And he is, in your religious book, in religion, he is known as Melchizedek or Malachi Zadok. And Malachi Zadok, if you go to Genesis chapter 14, verse 18, tells you how Malachi Zadok or Melchizedek was the high priest after the order of the Most High. That lets you know two things. That the Most High, Elyon El in the Hebrew, is a priesthood, is an order and a priesthood, and Melchizedek or Malachi Zadok was of this order. Now, Jesus wasn't after the order of Elyon El of the Most High. He was after the order of Malachi, Zadok, or Melchizedek. Hebrew chapter 5, verse 6 to 7 will tell you that. Correct? This Melchizedek incarnates from time to time to time to time. He was there in Genesis chapter 14 with Abraham. Then he's in the Quran, you see him mentioned as El Khidr, the green one, with Moses. Then he's mentioned again with Noah as well. Noah was of the order of Melchizedek. Then he's mentioned again with Jesus and Muhammad, etc., etc. So this Melchizedek character incarnates. He's also known as the angel Michael, Michael, who dares to be like El. Now, this Melchizedek in different cultures has many different titles attributed to him. In the Egyptian mystery system, he's known as Tuhuti. Galactically, his name is Yanun. And Yanun Melchizedek, or AnkhTwy, has incarnated in this day and time, and the master teacher is that being with us right here, right now, who has 720 degrees. When we say 720 degrees, we mean 360 degrees of physical knowledge, 360 degrees of spiritual knowledge or willpower. Okay, so now he has many, many gifts. Like the brothers just said, how he's what you call a polyglot, multilingualist, because he speaks the languages of the scriptures. And not only that, apart from that, he says he speaks 19 different languages, but as a spiritual master, he's here to set the record straight. You know, he's not here to change that, but to fulfill. And he goes, the problem that we have, especially as Negaru, Negroids, the problem that we have is that we was never encouraged to learn the languages of the scriptures. We've never really encouraged to learn the Hebrew of the Old Testament, the Greek of the New Testament, or
what term did you use?
Sorry, the Hebrew of.
No, before that, did you say Negroids?
Sorry, that's our language. You say Nagara Nadu, that means Negroids, or the copper ones is the proper term. That.
And what language?
That's in we have we are known as Sabians, or we say Sabians, and we have a language, because this is not an organization, it's a nation, it's a culture. And with a culture comes your language. So what we are doing, let's just say like this, we are introducing to you all new words, new concepts, and new terminologies, even new languages. This is what we have given, this is what the master teacher has presented to us. So we may use certain languages that you're unfamiliar with, but this is all part of our culture. So it's not just a little small organization. This is galactical. This is galactical. It's beyond the planet Earth. It's interdimensional. What you're receiving here. Now, what the Master has said is this: is that you look to hear that teachings to let you know, and by way of those teachings, it lets you know that this teacher is a visitor and not a resident to this planet. That's why we said. That's why we just said that we are introducing to you, or you will hear new terminologies. You will hear new concepts. You will hear new words, even languages, because to let you know what we are receiving, what we are transmitting to you all is not of this earth plane. Is of a higher order. So Melchizedek or Malachi Zadok or the AnkhTwy is here right now, incarnated, to give us what we call right knowledge, right wisdom, and the right understanding that leads to an overstanding that qualifies you for sound right reasoning, which is the highest form of mental processing.
I know you've got your flag up, but just to touch a little bit on what Happy has said, he said a lot, and we can dissect it and break it up. It's just that some of what you're familiar with, we'll go into. So when he talks about the angel Michael and so on and so forth, a lot of people in religion are expecting things to come. Like if you look at the book of Revelations or look at the prophecies, things that are unfolding right now that people have been waiting for or attribute to somebody else, you see. So we can go into that and clear it up a bit more. But
Can I just quickly, before
Yeah,
you go,
Okay,
sorry.
yeah, no, it's fine.
So is what's his
Malachi.
Malachi.
Is he, it might sound silly, is he still alive or?
Yes, he is
Yes.
still
Oh,
alive.
he is?
Yes.
Oh,
And the reason what I just said relates to your question is,
Yeah.
for example, if you read the book of Revelations, which a lot of Christians believe is the last book or the end time books, right? If you read it, first chapter, it talks about, the book of Revelation is Jesus' book, right?
yeah.
Which was John, the son of Zebedee, saw the visions, and then it says it was given and signified through his angel. But in the English, you don't see that the word angel, even though in Greek it's angelos, is actually Malachi. So the angel Michael, when you say Michael, you're saying Malachi in Hebrew as well. And you're saying Mikael in Arabic. So he's the one that is, even though people are saying they think is Jesus coming, it's not referring to Jesus. If you read it, it says my angel. That angel is Malachi. And in the last book of the Old Testament, the book is also known as Malachi. And it talks about the angel coming with healing in his wings. So that's who we're talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So before you, sorry, let me jump in. I do. I see you got a question, but like as the brother was saying, what you have to realize, and what Gus was referring to about languages, it's really key, because when you go into languages, as the brother said, the word "my angel," because you don't see it in the original language, you're not going to understand that who is actually talking and who's been sent, etc. But he said, "I'll send and signify it by my angel." So they go into the Hebrew and the Greek, and you see the word Malachi or Mikael or etc.
Melchizedek.
Or Melchizedek or Michael. You see what I'm saying? So that was the being that was sent to signify what was taking place. It's all about, the key is in the language. If you don't understand the language, that's why Sir Ken asked earlier, do any of you study or know the original languages that you read, according to the Bible?
Yeah.
Many people don't know this. So they don't know the true meanings. Okay, sorry, carry on.
Okay. So, I'm not going to profess to be a scholar or a doctor and to know everything. But what I do know is that I do study the Bible. I do study the Greek and the Hebrew, and I do get a sense for that. And I do believe that there's a creator. I believe that for every creation, there has to be a creator. I believe that there are things that we can't see. For example, there are wires in the wall. We can't see the wires in the wall, but they give us lighting, they give us heat and they give us different things. We can't see the air that we breathe, yet it's one of the most important things to us. So I believe that some of the most important things in life aren't visible to me. But I also believe that it's important to have a personal experience and to know why we're here. So I believe that it's important to have purpose, a sense of purpose.
So did you have a question?
Question? Yeah, question. But I think for me, I had to ask the creator, okay, so why have you made me? Why have you put me here? And through developing a relationship with God, I've received the answers that I need. There's ever a time that that I have an answer, that I have a question that I don't get an answer to. I can speak to like a pastor or a leader or someone within the church that I trust and respect. And I've always found that for me. So I haven't really had to go outside of the bounds of Christianity. That's for me personally. And at the same time, when I look at the facts and of history, I find that, okay, we're now in 2026, but if you go back and you look at BC and AD, all of the time and the date structure that we use in our calendar is all based around this man called Jesus. There was AD, but some people refer to as after death, and BC, but some people refer to as before Christ. So this man has been very prominent in scripture, not just for Christians, but just for everyone universally. He's known to have lived and dies and rose again. It's all there, and there's many witnesses who were like, hold on, this tomb is now empty, and we can go to Israel today and we can see the tomb. And they said, okay, but hold on, he died. He was put in this tomb, but when they went to visit the tomb was empty. So he where did he go? And there were many witnesses. When I look at these things, I'm like, okay, we're in 2026, but what is our calendar based on? And it's like, so I've always known that it's very profound, like this man Jesus. And like as I say, I'm not like a doctor or
So
scholar.
do you have a question? Because
What's your
I'm hearing what you're
question?
saying.
So
because
that's
you've said
me.
a lot of things which we're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
pick up on, but
Yeah.
was there a question?
No, because I just want to talk
just
about like my
saying,
personal
right.
experience.
So
I was
let
saying-
me address a few things you said, yeah. You use the word I believe a lot, right? And religion is based on belief. But we deal with facts and knowing. There's a big difference between believing something and knowing something, yeah? So when you stick to the facts and to the actual evidence, we can all agree on that. But when you go on a belief, anyone can have a belief, and I believe this, someone else believes that, and then it creates segregation and divisions, yeah? That was number one. Number two, you said the creator, or there's a creator. But who's that creator? Like if I asked you who created you, what would you say?
I would say God, and I would say I did add in some facts in there. I said we're in 2026.
I'm coming to that, but let's do one thing at a time. You said God created you.
Yeah.
But if I asked you, who is God? Where is he? How did he create you? Can you give me the facts about that?
I would go back to what I said about some of the most important things we cannot see. And if we knew everything,
Okay.
then we
But
would be
what I'm saying is, if we deal with belief, you can believe and say God created you. If we deal with facts, we will say your mother and father created you. Because without your mother and your father, you wouldn't be here. And I know the next question you're going to say is, well, who created them? And I will say the same thing, their mother and father. Now, this is evidence-based because you're dealing with a sperm that goes into an ovum, and there's a process scientifically, and then you are born or delivered by your mother.
I'm talking about before that. I'm talking about like
It doesn't
before
matter how far back you go.
The first man, like we
Wait,
can agree.
Who's the first man?
No. But my thing is, the point that I'm trying to make is, we know the facts are, okay, two people have to come together to have a child. We know that. I'm not debating that. That's a fact.
Right, but what I'm trying to show you is the
who
difference
created-
between believing and knowing something. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you
no,
can
yeah.
believe that God created you, but actual facts-based, like you said, evidence-based, it's going to be your parents. And you can go to their parents, to their parents, to their parents, and you just mentioned the first man, and I asked you who was that.
Okay. So according
to the Bible, right, let me show you again, this is how belief works. According to the Bible, God created Adam as the first man by taking the dust of the ground and forming a man.
Yeah, Adam.
And then he took a rib from Adam to form the woman. That's again a belief. That's not facts when you look at on the planet today, right now, genetics and genealogy, right? Everyone on the planet comes from a woman, not the other way around. See, that's the difference between facts and belief. But if I ask the question, did Adam have a navel? You know what a navel is, right? A belly button.
Yeah, belly button. Yeah.
Did he have one?
Did he have one?
Wow. I wasn't sure. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Every
so
man has one, right? So he would have had one.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that's important is because the navel connects you by your umbilical cord to your mother, right? When you're inside your mother and you're growing, your mother gives you all the nutrients and feeds you and everything through the umbilical cord. And then when you come out, it gets cut. That's why we all have one. And that's to prove to you that if he had one, he came from a woman. But in the Bible, you're taught that God took dust of the ground and created a man, and then
what
created
if he didn't have one? What if he didn't? What if God
but that's what I'm
created him
saying.
without
Then
one?
But we're dealing
genetically,
with
we all
facts.
have one.
No, but Adam was the first one who was created by God. So why would he
Right,
need
because he would set the precedent for all of us.
To not have one.
one? But God could have created him without one.
See, now you're
So you're
saying
saying
could.
could.
Okay, but how can you please God without faith? There's a scripture in the Bible
How can
that
you
says,
what, sorry?
how can you please God without faith? Like,
Why does God need to be pleased?
there's a scripture in the Bible that says without faith. This is just my personal opinion. I know that we're not going to agree on everything.
No, but all I'm
see-
trying to show you is the difference between believing and knowing with factually, because you're saying God needs to be pleased. But God doesn't need anything. A God who creates everything,
What does it need?
he doesn't have a
He
need.
decides what he wants and what he needs from you.
No, but I'm saying factually, you're
Okay.
saying he. You're saying he.
Yeah, God the Father.
So he's a man.
No, God the Father.
A father
Remember,
is,
we're made in his image and his likeness.
I know,
we're
but listen
not
to
God.
the words
God
you're
is God.
saying, though. You're saying he, father. That's a man. That's a male.
But if God says he's God the Father, who are we to say he's not
doesn't
God
say
the
that,
Father?
though.
He's the Almighty
Where does
God.
it say that he says he's God the Father?
omnipotent.
omnipotent doesn't mean male and female. Because to be
No,
omnipotent
means
means
all powerful, and I'm just saying that we should show him that respect.
listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying when you say omnipotent,
Yeah.
means you're everywhere,
No,
all
it means
powerful.
you're omnipresent means you're everywhere. Omnipotent means you're all powerful. I'm just
Okay,
saying
you're
we should
all powerful.
attribute to him that respect.
So you just contradicted yourself when you said he needs to be pleased.
No. He chooses what he wants. Like, for example, if someone wants to get into heaven, they need to receive the gift of salvation.
All right, listen.
That's a need.
Why did you say to heaven? Is that where he is? Is
Heaven,
that where God is?
God is everywhere. Remember, he's omnipresent.
But the word in, this is what I'm saying. When we deal with facts, it's very simple. When you're in something, you're not outside. Like we're in this room, we're not outside right now. So if you say God is in heaven, that means he's contained inside heaven.
No, he's omnipresent. He can be anywhere, at any time.
But
Jesus went into the depths.
But
of
that's
hell.
a
contradiction.
That's a contradiction.
It's not.
So he's everywhere and everywhere, yeah?
He's
From
omnipresent.
what you're saying, yeah. All right, let me ask
Omnipresent.
you a question. Is he in hell right now?
He can be if he wants to be.
He
It's up
can
to
be,
him.
or is he in heaven and hell at the same
You
time?
have to ask him. I don't know.
You have to ask him. All right, ask him then.
No, you would have to ask him. I don't
No,
want
but
to
you're
ask
the
him.
one, no, you're saying things for him, and I'm saying if you can ask him, right? Because you say you pray, right?
What I do know is that. Yeah, he's omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, which means he knows everything.
Yeah, but that's just based on hearsay because you've read that. But when you break it down, I said to say he's everywhere at the same time means he's in hell. But in the Bible, he can't be in hell because only sinners go to hell, unless you're saying God is a sinner.
But there's a scripture in the Bible that says that actually after Jesus died, he went into hell.
That's Jesus. Are you saying Jesus and God are the same person?
Have you heard of the
No,
concept?
answer that question. Are you saying God and Jesus are the same person?
Yes, the Trinity, the Father, the Son,
No,
and the
they're
Holy
not,
Spirit,
because
3 in 1.
I'll tell you why that doesn't make sense. Because he came from the Father to come to the planet, as the Bible says, to die for your sins, to remove sins from the world. And then he got crucified on a cross, according to the story. And before that, he was praying to God to say, "Oh, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me." Even when he was on the cross, he was like, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," which means what?
Oh, you mean when you're saying, Father, Father, why have you forsaken
Right.
me?
Yeah.
So he can't be himself.
Saying that to himself.
Saying that to himself, come down, die for the sins, go back to himself and sit on the right-hand side of himself. That just makes no sense if you really break it down.
Why can't God, who's omnipotent, decide to come to earth as a man? Why can't
Because
he
to
do
be
that?
man is to be less than God. You can't be God and be all
Omnipotent
powerful
and all-powerful.
and then be less than
But
yourself.
then you're saying he's all powerful, but he couldn't take himself from the cross to
And
die.
That
and
was
he
the
couldn't
plan.
click his finger and just change the minds of
Okay.
the people.
I'll let him.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Can you, and forgive me, his name is Dr.
Malachi said York.
Said you. Okay.
Dr. York, innit?
Dr. York. Okay, sorry. I wanted to be respectful.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little, because I've never heard of him.
Right.
Can you just give me like a short bio of who he is, where he's from, what's his background, what's his
Let me interject there. Yeah, Dr. Malachi York, for lack of a better word, let's say it's say a regular guy. Okay, a regular guy. However, he was. I don't want to say a regular guy. He is what's referred to as a human being, Dr. Malachi York. He is what's referred to as a seeded entity, meaning the forces of nature. The forces of nature groomed him or placed in his mother and father certain properties in their DNA, in the sperm and in the egg. So when his father and mother met up by way of divine intervention, when they met up and they had intercourse and they bore Dr. York, that seed is what you could say the angel Michael and Malachi Zadok in that seed. So he had to go He's a
So I'm just talking about in the natural,
yeah.
and just like if you wrote on a piece of paper, not necessarily the spiritual aspect, but who is he?
Easy.
Is he?
He's an extraterrestrial, right?
In human
So is he from like?
I'm going to answer your question.
Yeah, sorry. It's like
It's an
You know when you talk in the Bible about angels,
yes.
Jesus, God, etc., where are they?
But can you,
I'm going to answer your question. Just follow me. I'm going to come there. Listen, the reason I'm doing it this way is because when you think about angels, you think about them being in heaven. And they wear clothes, they wear white robes, they come down to earth, and they go back. Those are extraterrestrials, right? So you've got your spiritual side of things, like all of us here, we would say we are physical from our parents, but we also have spirits and we have souls, which are not from here. Because the Bible says God breathed into man and man
I know,
became a
Uncle,
living
but
soul.
just like I'm just saying, like, where was he
I'm
born?
I'm saying you can, all right, you can go and do the research. So I'm trying to explain it that the physical you is born from parents, which his parents are from Ghana and have roots in the Sudan. Yeah?
Okay.
And he's still alive right now.
And where does he live?
He's incarcerated right now, right?
He's where?
In America, in Florida.
Colorado,
Admax, Colorado. But he lived and was born and grew up in America as well as in Africa.
Okay.
Right. So that's the physical being.
So yeah, I'm just trying to understand. I'm just trying to understand with my mind who this person was.
Right.
The background. So this person from a Sudanese and Ghanaian background.
That's right.
Grew up in Florida.
No, in the
Grew
US.
up in the U.S.
Yeah. Where
New York,
New Jersey.
Bushwick, New
Okay.
Jersey.
Yeah.
Grew up there. Did he grew up in a religious household?
No.
No. Okay. So you say doctor, right? So that means he probably has a bachelor's, master's, and PhD.
Yes. Right.
Where from?
He studied languages in the University of Khartoum. That's where he received his
Cartoon.
Khartoum in Egypt.
In Egypt.
Sudan.
Yeah.
Sudanese and
So he went to Sudan.
He studied there.
And did a
Remember I said his parents are from
yeah. So he had a bachelor's, master's, and PhD there.
Yeah.
And then he came back to the U.S.
So he went back and forth, yes. He studied in the...
And does he have a family?
Yes.
Like, does he have kids, a wife?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a normal person like we as well.
Yeah. I'm just trying.
No, it's true.
I'm just trying to understand.
But just so that we can save time, you can go and do your own research.
I know, but I know, but I don't know about you guys because have you heard about this? Have you heard about?
No,
Wait,
teacher. Never
Right.
heard.
For us, I get it to save time without a doubt, but for us, we need context,
Right.
Because we're kind of
What I'm
coming
saying.
in just like what's it? So okay, so he's at that, and he's now incarcerated in Florida,
No.
in
Colorado.
Colorado. What is he incarcerated for?
For teaching the truth and for teaching this information, because as we were leading on to say, the being that he is, as in the soul that he is, who is an angel incarnated. I use the word angel because of Christianity, you're familiar with that. We can use the word extraterrestrial because the information that most people have been given about religion and so forth is very limited information. It doesn't go into the heavens and go into...
As an American,
Yeah.
myself, living in the UK, dual citizen now, the American policy isn't... That's one of the beauties of America is that you can believe whatever you want to believe and preach whatever you want to preach, right?
Right.
So he's not incarcerated because of his belief.
No.
So why is he
You're
incarcerated?
saying that.
That's what you're saying.
No, because no, that's what he said, didn't he?
No. Let me
teaching the
clarify.
truth.
I'm here.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
clarify.
Yeah.
things,
Yeah, but I'm just saying you did say because I'm listening that he was incarcerated for his beliefs for preaching the
No, I
truth.
didn't say that.
He
I said
he
for
didn't say
teaching.
believe. He
I
didn't
said
say
for what
believe. He
he's
said teaching the truth.
That's what I said.
Oh, but
we
for
can
teaching,
rewind it.
Yeah.
for teaching the truth. Okay, but what is the legal justification of him being in prison?
Okay, let me answer the question, please. Right. You said you're an American.
Yes.
What makes you an American?
No, we're not going there.
No, you can't ask. Let me answer.
Uncle, we're not going there.
Let me finish.
I asked you a question. I want you to answer my question.
Gus,
Uncle,
let me speak, please.
I'm asking you a question. Please answer the
Can I
question.
finish answering the question?
No, because I asked you a question. You haven't answered it. Why is
You
he,
can't tell me how to answer the question.
What's the
though.
legal justification of him being
I'm
incarcerated?
trying to answer the question, but you won't let me. You can be unjustly incarcerated, right?
True or false?
Is that true?
So
or false?
what is the legal justification?
This one, there is no legal justification, but you have to study the case and
In order to
So
know
what does the case say?
Gus, you're going to have to allow me to speak because you can't ask a question and as I'm
It's a
speaking, you're asking.
It's a
Yeah,
simple
but what I'm
question.
saying
What
is,
is he being arrested and jailed for?
okay, let me say it again. He's been falsely accused, right, of other things which have nothing to do with the truth, just like anybody can be arrested and falsely arrested. So I'm saying if you want to know the case and know what he's been arrested for, this is something you can pull up and find out. But I'm not going to go into the case because we can literally be here all day. But what I've said to you is, whether you want to accept it or not, is that when you look into who he is and the work that he has been doing and uplifting people and bringing the truth to the world and exposing many things, that's the real reason why he's been incarcerated and arrested. But you can go and look at the case. I mean, if you ask direct questions, we can probably go into it. But I know that line of questioning is probably trying to what's the word I'm looking for? You're trying to diminish what we're saying about who he is. But until you really get to know him and study and research and find out, you know, like you have to make.
I didn't know he was
incarcerated.
incarcerated. I didn't know he was incarcerated.
Yeah, no, but we told you that. But let me finish what I was saying, right? I was saying that the person that we're talking about, he's known in the scriptures and throughout history, right? He's an incarnation. And so today, we're teaching the information that he's been teaching, which is new to some people. And that's part of the reason why he's incarcerated. Because we're going to talk about and show you and say things that you may not be familiar with.
You say he's incarcerated for being falsely accused for something.
Maybe,
but you haven't.
sorry, I don't mean to cut him. Maybe he's been treated the same way how Dr. Sebe was treated. That's how I'm feeling.
This is what I'm trying to say. But
he's been.
there are many people, that's why when I asked you about being American, it's because the case is between the American government and him for what he's been putting out, you see? So
I believe that people are falsely incarcerated, of course.
Right.
And I'm assuming, I'm gonna assume that he's a black man.
Right.
Right? So he's a black man. So I get that. I get a majority of the American American
population.
It was Jim Crow, now it's mass incarceration, especially black men. Without a doubt. So 1 in 3 black men end up in prison in America. I know that. Without a doubt. 2 of my siblings were in prison. I get that. I get falsely accused.
Right.
But the reason why I kept going for it is because I felt that I was asking you a direct question and you were not answering directly. You're going philosophically when I was saying what was he falsely accused of?
Okay, what I'm saying is you can pull up the case on PESA online, because I don't want to give you one thing and you go and look it up and then, do you know what I mean, for yourself.
That actually
He's
takes
been
away from what we're here
incarcerated
for. Yeah.
falsely incarcerated for, they say, right, transporting minors across state boundaries with illicit purposes, right? That's one of the charges. The main charge is RICO. You're familiar with RICO, right? Because he's been charged as if he's a criminal organization, right? But with RICO, it's based on organization. So you can't just incarcerate one person. But when you start to look at the case, this is what I'm saying, and look at the history of what he was teaching before the false charges came along, you will be able to piece the pieces together and see that he's been targeted for mainly, just like if you look at the story of Jesus, right? Jesus was persecuted, accused falsely by the Romans and the Greeks, or the Pharisees and the Sanhedrins, and then he was brought against a charge, and then he was found guilty and then crucified. When you look at that story, it's the exact same repeat of what's happened with our teacher today. And many people that have come to the planet to teach and bring truths and deal with the people who are teaching you lies and, you know, like the world we're living in today with all kinds of, we can go into that, but I don't know if that's answered your question.
No, it answered my question. And again, respectfully, I was just trying to figure out, because we're coming in completely have no idea.
Right.
None of us know who idea whatever. So
No.
so obviously this person you speak of, that you obviously that's highly favored in to you.
Definitely. Yeah.
I'm trying to understand who this is. You know, especially because from my American Chicago mind, I look at that and I look at the clothing you wear and go, is this Israel? Is this like Hebrew Israelites? Is this Nation of Islam? Is this whatever, you know, and trying to decipher that.
Right.
But I don't want to go into it thinking that I know something that I don't.
Right.
That's why I'm trying to ask questions, because
I hear you, and that's why we're
here.
here. And there's nothing wrong with your question. You can ask us anything. We're not Hebrew Israelites. We're not we are a culture known as Wu-Sabat. Which
Sabians, Wu-Sabat.
Wu-Sabat,
Wu-Sabat.
right? Which is the original way of life on this planet, going back to what people know as ancient Egypt and beyond, okay? Which came from the stars here, because our ancestors come from different constellations known as Orion, Sirius. These are all mentioned in the Bible, like Amos 5:8, Job 9:9. You can go and see where they're mentioning of Taurus, Pleiades, Orion, Sirius. These are all mentioned in the Bible. So our ancestors go to what we call the heavens. That's why I was saying about the extraterrestrial thing. They came down here, built a civilization, built the pyramids, had a writing and wrote on the walls, and the language they spoke was known as...
It's right here.
This is the same language that we speak today, right? So the Tower of Babel in the Bible, in chapter 11, Genesis chapter 11, is talking about how that language got confounded, and then people went in different directions and not able to speak anymore. The hieroglyphics and the cuneiform are scripts of the language, but the spoken language is known as Nuapic, or we know it as Misbatia. This is why it's important to connect the dots from when we're saying, like, if you go from today, going backwards, you're going to go English. Then you might go to the Quran, Arabic. You might go to the Torah, Hebrew. But all of those go back to the Mesopotamia or the Sumerian doctrine, which deals with the Anunnaki and so forth. And they themselves go back to the ancient Egyptian. Even though people talk about the different dynasties of Egypt, we go pre-dynastic, going back all the way to the original way of life that was brought down to the planet.
So, Uncle, that, for me, what you just explained there was great pedagogy. That was amazing pedagogy. That's what I wanted at the very beginning,
right?
Before we said anything about the Bible or Jesus.
Yeah, but we want to walk it.
Yeah, but I feel like you wanting to your facts and truth that you have, and you want to spread it. For me, it's better to start from there.
Well,
because
but
now
sometimes we can go above people.
Because now I'm like, okay, now I'm getting what you're saying. Because before it's just before to go, because you're going from here to try to go here, but actually you need to go from here to there. And to me, what you said
was in your view though. But there are many people that will listen, but that might not feel the way you feel.
I personally think that's just better pedagogy.
Okay. I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's for you.
we have different people in the room.
I don't know. I mean, how do you guys feel?
I wanted to know more where you came from, because when I was talking about Christianity, I wasn't sure like where you were yet, or what your understanding of it, like what you believed it. Well, in honesty, one of the questions I want to ask is like what do you believe in? Like what is your why are we here? Why do you believe we're here?
Yeah. We say to people, we don't believe, we know. And the reason why we say we don't believe we know, because they're two different meanings.
Yeah.
A lot of people use I believe. And when you go into religion, it's really about belief. Knowledge is something that you acquire through evidence, experience, and reasoning.
Okay.
Yeah. Through going into detail about facts. Things like that.
But why are we research here? So why do you believe here? Why do you know we're here then?
Why do we know we're here?
Yeah.
Because as the brother explained, we're beings that came here to this planet. This whole culture, what you call the ancient Egyptian culture, is not of this planet. It's not from this planet. You with me? And ancient cultures verify that because of what they explain these beings came from. Yeah. So in your culture of the Hebrews, they talk about a being known as Elyon El. Before you even go to the Revelations and the New Testament, you go to the Old Testament, it talks about a supreme being that we mentioned before about Melchizedek was the high priest of.
Yeah.
It talks about this high priest being the order of the Most High, Elyon El. Yeah, look it up in your Strong's Concordance. So this Elyon El, again, culture is the barrier. Once you go past the Hebrew culture and you go into the Chaldean, the Sumerian, the Akkadian, these are all cultures that predate your Hebrew culture. So in that culture, they refer to Elyon El as the Most High, as Anu. You understand?
Yeah, but I'm still not getting I could sum up why I'm here in one or two sentences or in a
let me ask you one quick question. You see in your Christianity
can I say
Bible,
why I believe I'm here or why I know I'm here? Because God created us. Remember what we said at the beginning, love. Yeah? God wants us to get to heaven. God wants us to have a relationship with him, show love to others, receive love, and be in a relationship with him. It's all about love. But when I'm asking you guys, why do you believe you're here? Why do you know you're here? You're telling me a lot of facts, but I just want to know purpose.
Let me just make something a little simple for you.
Yeah.
In Christianity, in the Bible, everybody went to Egypt, right? Jesus went to Egypt when Herod was trying to kill all the firstborn. And that was like the missing years, right? So you heard about him when he came back at the age of 12. But when he was born, he was taken by Mary and Joseph and they went to Egypt, right? So he spent most of his learning young life in Egypt. Abraham went to Egypt. Moses went to Egypt, right? Joseph and his family went to Egypt. So there's a connection between Egypt. Why does everybody go to Egypt? Or why is all the major people in the Bible and in the scriptures going to Egypt? The reason they went to Egypt is because they went to study and learn, right, the higher mysteries. Yeah? So when all the stuff you're talking about love and God and all of these terms, they come from ancient Egypt. So there is a direct relationship, and what we're trying to say to you is that it's been watered down to what you're calling Christianity, Islam, and Judaism today.
You know, I respect what you said. I respect that you haven't acknowledged, but you still haven't answered my question.
Well, all right, ask your question directly.
My question is, okay, the question that I felt was right, was, why do you believe we're here, or what is the purpose? You don't like that question.
No, I just said to you, ask me a direct question, but you're not asking a question.
What is the purpose of us being here?
Right, so your question is, what is the purpose of us being here?
For you, yes.
Who's us? Us or you, when you say us?
I'm asking, for you personally, like, what do you think our purpose is for being alive?
Okay. Our purpose is to learn and master this realm before we leave here. That's the purpose, because you don't know who you are, what you are, where you come from, where you're going, and all of that has many questions, which are questions we all had. But we went about looking for the answers. And that's how we got to the answers, by learning and studying the scriptures to get the answers. But there's none qualified enough to the level that Dr. Malachi Z. York is to break down the scriptures. That's why he speaks all those languages and he's a linguist, because he's teaching you the truth from what you're calling the Bible, what you're calling the New Testament, what you're calling the Quran, going beyond that to the languages before where they came from, so that you can get it crystal clear as to what your purpose is here and where you're going. Because we can answer questions to deal with where you're going. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. That's something you probably never heard before. Most people will talk about heaven and going back to heaven, but they don't give you the details of how you're going to get to heaven and when you're going to go, right? Or is heaven a place? And if it's a place and you can go there, how are you going to get there? Some will say you're going to have to die first, right? But you don't, because you can literally travel there, because the word heaven is translated as heaven in English, but when you go to the word, it's haven. It's talking about a particular place, like we said, Orion, Sirius, right? These are star constellations. And in order to travel there, you can travel in a craft, or you yourself, as a light being, can transform yourself into a craft and travel there. So this is going to go into sciences now, where you have to learn about how you're able to do that. And there's something called Mafkuzet, right, which people know as monatomic gold or liquid gold or the elixir of life, yeah, you in ancient times were able to take this and then it will work with
Transform
what
you.
you call your third eye, your pineal gland, your pituitary gland, and then it worked with something called the barothry gland, which you no longer have. This is why we've lost access to be able to do these things as supreme beings. And then you lost your higher senses, which is telepathy, intuition, psychometry, and clairvoyance. Now, when you have studied this and know how to do this, you transform yourself and you can travel as a light being or in a craft. And you have to travel beyond the speed of light, yeah? Which obviously people say nothing can travel beyond the speed of light. But when you know these formulas and how to do this, you can, because you use something called contraction and expansion, which is like being in a, this might sound all like scientific to you, but you bend space-time, which is to be like traveling in a bubble. Right? You can obviously ask more questions and we can expand in it.
Okay.
But what I'm saying to you is there's more to your life as a physical being, because you have a spiritual being and you have a soul. And these things are things that we can teach about, as we've been taught by the master teacher, that religions don't really go into or touch and go into in great detail about. So we're here to answer questions on, we can answer questions on the Bible, the Quran, on all the books. We can answer questions on the language, but we can also go into your real being as a soul being and why you're here. I don't know if any of you want to add to.
I just want to quickly say
Me, I'm
something.
already interested, honestly. You know, I said 6. I think I'm on to 8 now. Till, you know, yeah,
worry.
honestly, yeah.
I just want to quickly say something about the brother says, what's our purpose here? And Ken mentioned it, and he said that we're here to learn, because this earth plane is the hardest of schools to learn. And because we don't meet the criteria, we have to come back. We die, we come back, we die, we come back, we die, we come back. Now, we have to remember that we are soul beings with a body, not a body with a soul. What's that mean? We are, it's like you got a jacket and you got the physical body. You're not a jacket with a body on, you're a body with a jacket on. You see, the jacket is, let's say the body is like the soul and spirit. The jacket is like the physical body. Okay. So now, we're here to experience. That's why we are here. Experience what it's like to be physical. Once we meet the grade, then we could move up to the next vibration. We could shed the jacket and take the vehicle, the soul, the spirit, and the soul to move on to the higher levels. What is happening is that the environment that we are in is not there to help us elevate. Because why? Because there are forces of unnatural nature whose job is to maintain the status quo, or that depressive status quo on the planet. And that was for a 6,000 year period, which has ended in the year 2000 AD. One of the major tools that they use to help enslave the minds is religion. One of the many tools. Now, what's happened is that the master teacher said it like this: I came giving you what you want, which is religion, so that you would learn to want what I have come to give. So he started teaching officially from 1970 to 2000 AD, because he knew he had a 30-year period to give us what we wanted. So he submerged us into religion. And he said it's all about the language. All about the language. So we asked the ultimate of questions. And the ultimate of questions was, who is God? When we asked that question, not us personally, but people he was teaching to, when we asked that question, he said, right, I now know that you are ready to be taken to the next level. Who is God? You are all gods. The divine that you are seeking is yourself. Did Jesus say in John 10:34, isn't it not written in your law that ye are gods? And if you go to the into the Greek concordance, look at that word God, is theos. What does that mean? It means divine beings, deities in human form. Where does that come from? Psalms 82 verse 6, where it says, is it not written in your law that ye are gods? Hear this now, sons and daughters of the Most High. The Most High amongst us on today is Dr. Malachi Z.K. York. As we said earlier on, the Most High is an order, it's a priesthood, and there are many Most Highs. One of them has incarnated. And what is the Master Teacher's job? To transform us into becoming Most Highs like himself.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there like
I think,
sorry,
Resham.
sorry.
I mean,
We'll go back to you.
I
Go for
don't
it.
know how long, a long time ago,
Yeah.
you mentioned that, well, you're still talking about it, that you are from, or we are from outer space, another planet. Scientists, America, Russia, wherever, have been sending rockets for years and years, and they're still only at the stage of finding out if plants can grow on Mars or whatever. Is there water there? So, question is, how, if you say that we're from another planet, I'll explain my disbelief in that in a minute. But if you say we're from, why is that not public? No,
It
public
is.
knowledge.
It's just that.
Then why would scientists be still researching it?
Right. This is what we're trying to explain to you, that on the planet you have a hierarchy. So when you say scientists, you're under the impression that they know everything, but they don't. They're still trying
Nobody
to.
does.
Well, you know when you can explain it and give the information. Like you just said, right? Science is based on evidence. So to answer the question about when you say, I didn't say outer space, I said extraterrestrials. The word
Either
no,
way, it's
I
not
know,
on,
I get you.
It's not on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when you say extraterrestrial, you'll say something that's extra on the terrain or the terrestrial plane, as opposed to the celestial. Celestial deals with outside of the planet. So to prove it to you, God is not here, is he? He's in heaven. Right? Jesus.
Nobody knows where God is.
That's what it says in the Bible. If you're a Christian, you believe that, right? God is in heaven.
Yeah.
So heaven is not on earth. Jesus is.
Nobody knows where heaven is.
No, we do, but I'm saying.
Not physically.
Yeah, we do.
You do.
That's what I'm trying to explain to you. So you have to go and research this, but what we're saying is that what you're calling heaven is a place outside of the planet. Scientists know about the different planets. They know about the universe and the constellations and the galaxy and so forth, right? This has been scientifically proven. So when we're saying you're an extraterrestrial, we're not talking about your physical being. We're talking about what you would call a spirit or a soul, because it tells you in the Bible, God breathed into you and you became a living soul. So the soul part of you is what we're saying is an extraterrestrial, because it's not from here. It's from God, and God it's not on earth, right? However, when you start to study the world, you have different states of vibration. So you've got the physical plane, which we call the material world, or the physical plane, and then you have the spiritual plane. You have what we call the soul plane. You have the mental plane. You have etheric planes that go higher. So you're composed of all of these different components. So you have, like AnkhTwy was saying, your skin suit is the bacteria that is formed when your mother, remember, you come here as a spiritual or an etheric being, pure energy being. And it's when you're in your mother's womb that the dust of the ground, right, that she's breathing in through her sinuses, formulate around that pure energy being. And then you get to grow your limbs. So when you look at it scientifically, you go from density, to what we call matter, to atoms, to organs, to cells, to bodies. So that's how you have to break it down. So scientifically, you can go from being a solid to a liquid to a gas. If you take water, for example, like you can get a solid ice, melt it becomes water. You apply heat to the water and it becomes steam. And then steam sort of disappears and we say into nothingness. But nothingness exists. It's just that most people are not taught about it. When I was saying about you can transform as a light being and go back, in scientific terms, the known world or the physical world started with H1, which they call hydrogen, right, coming into the physical. Then you had helium and so forth. When you go the other direction, right, so let's imagine the middle is 0. Coming this way, you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you get all the elements of the physical world. Then going the other way, you get the etheric world, which they used to say didn't exist because they didn't have the right equipment to see things beyond hydrogen. So they refer to that as ether 1, ether 2, going that way. But when they started to subdivide the atom, i.e. subdivide the first one, H1, which is hydrogen, they got quarks, then they got biaps, and they got zeelies, and they keep going that way. So today you have experiments by, do you know the Hadron Collider? Do you know what that is?
The who?
Hadron Collider.
The Hadron Collider. So there are scientists that are continuously subdividing atoms by crashing them together to break them down to see what is beyond what we call the physical world. Because in order to know how we evolved and came to be what we are today, they have to go backwards to the first, like when we were tiny. And that's why they look into space and look beyond to see the formation of the universe. So I know you may not be familiar with that, but that's what we mean when we're saying that we're from before the planet.
From what I know, have discovered that when the pyramids were made, you mentioned the period that we made the pyramids, they still have not figured out how they were made, because apparently so many thousands of tons of stones,
right?
How were they carried, and how were they, just the same with Stonehenge. How were they carried, and how were they cut so straight? So there was a technology that those people had, and if you're saying that we are those people or descendants of them, then why wouldn't they have carried that technology through? So from what I know, the scientists have decided that aliens did come. They helped. They wanted to make pyramids. They also wanted to do this and that. And they had the technology, so they created us. This is what I learned from them. They created man to make those pyramids. They gave them the technology, and then they went back.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on that?
In some of what you said is correct, because you're dealing with these higher knowledgeable beings, these extraterrestrials. That's what they are. They're just advanced beings that have come to this realm and were responsible for the creation and seeding of this planet. You see what I'm saying? So you mentioned before that there's no proof that there's scientists have been looking out there and they can't find any proof that there's extraterrestrial life. But then you also mentioned that beings have come here according to what you've watched and learned.
Yeah.
So in that sense, there are things that are known by certain faculties, certain facilities, certain institutions, that they don't tell you everything.
But
it's for instance,
still in the resource.
No, it's not, because there's things that now you can go onto YouTube or whatever, and you can actually look at UFO debriefings or things regarding what they refer to as 50 years. There's a 50-year mark where they have to reveal information, disclosure of information. You with me?
Yeah.
And within the disclosure of information, there's information about extraterrestrials. There's information about UFOs.
Yes, there is.
You see what I'm saying? It's called declassification. Yeah, so they declassify these things. So at one point it was classified, and then they declassify it. So there have been knowledge of UFOs all the way going back to the times of Hitler, etc.
Before.
Exactly. So what we're saying is that there are beings, there are people who have been to this realm. There are people who are also in control of certain information. So the information that they're in control of, they only disseminate a certain amount to the public, just to keep you, do you know what I mean, sedated.
That doesn't answer my question was, is it the people that built the pyramids, etc., they did not carry on their trade or skills.
No, that's what I was going to get to.
And they did not pass
That's
it on.
what I'm getting to.
Is that true? Or is it that the aliens came, made the beings, did their job, and they went back?
But this the point. That's what I'm saying.
Which one is it?
It's a bit of both, because you have extraterrestrials who came here, left the information, okay, and then hundreds of years later, you have different institutions and groups, okay, that have come and visited Egypt. Like you had archaeologists who have been to Egypt in the 1800s, 1700s, etc. And before then, when the Arabs invaded Egypt and other cultures, and they took the information that these so-called beings built these pyramids. They've taken that information and they've given snippets of that information or written it in book form, do you see what I'm saying? And then it's become what people then have gone to study. So when you go to like the British Museum, the Cairo Museum, etc., you find ancient manuscripts.
And the thing I want to touch on, you say these people and their children, we are those children.
Exactly.
This is why you have to go back in time and say, who were the Egyptians? Who were their descendants or their
but
appearance?
why was that technology became well known at that time and carried on?
That's what I'm trying to explain
children?
to you, that it was our ancestors and they hid it. They put it away because you had to go to Egypt to learn. This is why all your Greek philosophers all went to Egypt, right? Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, we can name all of them. So what it is, they would go to Egypt and they would be taught certain things, but certain information was sacred and it was hidden from them because they were not trusted. Because when they gave them certain information, they used it in a disagreeable way. Just like what he mentioned about the Hitler and the wars with, when they got the information about the atomic bomb, they used it in a disagreeable way in Nagasaki and Hiroshima during the World War wars. So they were not trusted to give them certain information. But at the same time, certain extraterrestrial would make deals with like the presidents of the countries like America and so forth, and give them some information like cures for certain diseases, like technologies such as the hovercraft. So over time, different extraterrestrials will make deals with those people in higher places. But what happened, as Nee was saying, is that they will hide the truth and only give the public what they want to give you. But until one that came along, this is what we keep saying, that Malachi coming was a prophecy, because all religions tell you that there will come a time when the truth will come. And when the truth comes, all false things will perish. So all lies will be, revealed, and things about extraterrestrials, things about God, things about religion, things about anything you want to know that has been hidden from you from the last 6,000 years. Because the cycles that take place is that during the moon cycle, which was, as my brother IK was saying, right, when you count backwards, we're in 2025 AD now.
2026.
2026, thank you, right? And you go back to 1 AD, that will be the beginning of the Gregorian calendar, right? But to go beyond that, you have to go to BC or BCE, which is dealing with the before Christ or before the Christian era. And that only takes you 4,000 years, which gives you the 6,000 years of the moon cycle. This is when religion was introduced. This is where information was hidden. But prior to that, we were in what we call the sun cycle. So you have cycles that go sun cycle, moon cycle, sun cycle, moon cycle. That completes 24,000 years, because each one of those is 6,000 years each. Then the new cycle begins. And in this new cycle is where all truth will be revealed. So anything you want to know about anything now is being revealed. But one that had to be chosen to come and bring this information and bring the truth to the world and for humanity. But many religions and different people misinterpret who that is. They're waiting for someone, like they're waiting for Jesus to come back. You got the Muslims, they're waiting for the Messiah. You got the Jews, they're waiting. Everybody's waiting, not realizing that the person they're waiting for is already here. And that's who we're saying is Dr. Malachi Z. That's just his name in the physical world. But in terms of his galactical being, he's known as Yanun. All these beings that you're talking about, like Jesus, etc., they were part of an order as well. And he was known by many names like Sanenda, So when you start to deal with these beings we're calling angels, Gabriel, Michael, and even the devil, because it tells you in Revelation that Michael and his angels fought against the dragon and his angels, and they were cast down here to this planet, right? So that goes into the 200 fallen angels, etc., etc. So now we're being taught not the story just from Jesus, but all the way back to the beginning for those who really want to know. And you're only going to know if you ask the questions and research and look at
just
the
add
questions.
to that, sorry.
Absolutely.
So, as a brother, these sacred societies, you go and look them up. You got the Rosicrucians, you got the Gnostics, you got the Essenes, you got the other people that predate the Essenes. Okay, all of these are different secret societies that have kept portions of the truth. You go to the Nag Hammadi. Okay, these are scrolls and tablets that have been found in certain places, the Qumran scrolls. Okay, you're probably familiar with the Qumran scrolls, yeah? They've unearthed these things, and some linguists and scholars have deciphered, and they found out certain information. They found out that Yeshua was married. He had children. You know, they found out certain things. But when the establishment want to keep control, as was done in the Nicene Council and other places, they wanted to keep control. They didn't want to tell you that Jesus had a wife and children. They don't want to tell these things because it ruins the whole divinity and all these things regarding who he was. Yeah, they wanted to keep it a particular way. So study these different societies, and you start to see that there's hidden truths that are out there. So as we were saying, Dr. Malachi Zijor, his whole purpose is to reveal this. He's a revelator. And you're talking about revelations. That is what it does. You reveal to the people the truth about what's actually taking place on this planet. Not what you want to believe or what religion has created in order to keep you in a particular mindset. We're trying to break that mindset. That's what we're doing. That's our job. Okay, so
yeah, the bit. So one quick thing about the pyramids, because you were saying how did they move the stones and all of that.
Yeah.
Because these beings had technology and higher information, they were able to use things like levitation, right? They were able to use like laser to cut the stones to precision, and they could actually use 3D printing. These are all ancient technologies. So that's how they built the pyramids, and we, as their ancestors, was given this information, I think. Is it? Already?
if you're new here, hit subscribe and turn on your notifications.
I believe that, I know you don't like this word, I believe. Talking about evolution as opposed to Adam and Eve, which do you believe?
It's not that we don't like the word belief. We just like to set the record straight.
Yeah.
Because most people use it daily without recognizing there's a difference with believing something and knowing something. So we're not against belief, but we're like, why do you believe something if you can know? You see, because the word belief has the word lie in the middle of it. Most people don't even recognize that. And the word know is the first part of knowledge, because you have to seek knowledge. So when you're asking about theories, right?
Theories or thoughts?
Right.
Opinions.
A theory is not a fact. It's something that you might just be like postulate or be like, I have a hypothesis that maybe pigs can fly, right? But then it's like, okay, how are you going to get to the truth of finding out the facts? So when you talk about evolution, there's evolution, which is a part of the bigger picture, but it's not all the picture because there are pieces missing. Because when someone starts off talking about, let's say, a big bang, it's like, okay, what caused the bang? You have to kind of go beyond just the bang. So we like, okay, evolution is a part of it, but most people start off with creation. Even in the last session, we were asked a question and God started off creating. But the question is, if you say, even like in Genesis, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, your mind's not going to compute that, because you're going to be like, he's already there. So that can't be the beginning.
Exactly.
So the beginning is just a point in time that's been recorded. Just like evolution is a point in time that's been recorded. But you can go pre the beginning. And people say, what's before creation? We can answer that because we say existence. Because creation means
Existence of what?
Right. So in order to create, the word create means to grow, to make something. You have to have something that
Now,
exists.
there's a difference in grow and making something.
Right. So
difference.
a good example would be like a table. So I created a table, but the table comes from a tree.
Yeah.
Because the wood from the tree is what I use
And
to
tree
create
comes
the
from
table.
a seed.
Exactly. So you see how you can keep going to things that exist before creation. Yeah, I don't know if you two want to add anything to.
Yeah, that's a good question. And as Ken said, that the word create means to grow or to give birth. But before there was creation, there was existence. Meaning that when we say existence in Wu-Sabat, what we mean is there's a state before physical, which people call it the spiritual realm, or we say the etheric realm. But before the etheric realm, there was another state which we refer to as pre-existence. This pre-existence is mental, you see. So we call it the all, in all. The all is mental, or all existence in existence, you see. So the master put it like this, is that let's say higher intelligence, it's not intelligence, but out-intelligence outside this dimensional realm, created a state of nothingness, which is the etheric realm, to put something in, which is the physical realm. So in order for, that means that these higher beings or these higher out-intelligences existed in a mental state, which we call in our language, we call it Pa'ut, the all expanding, you see. The thing is also to acknowledge is that we too are a part of the all, in all. So all we do, and all that's happening to us is a portion of the all is in us, and that portion of all existence is by way of tones, frequencies, and vibration has come down into physical.
Yeah. Could look at this.
How you didn't answer my question. How do you relate Adam and Eve to
Adam and
evolution?
Eve. Right.
Yeah.
Adam and Eve, you'll first find that in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, where it says, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness. Let them have dominion of the fish in the sea, of fowl of the air, etc., etc. Now, that means then that when it says and God said, let us make man, that renders God a scientist or a geneticist. So they had to use different portions of genes that were already in evolution to create the Adam and Eve. And there were many, Adam and Eve was not the first two people on the planet Earth. They're just an ongoing process.
They were the first humans.
No, they're humans before them.
So you asked about evolution. So you got Neanderthal man, you got Cro-Magnon.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the evolutionary anthropology.
Yeah.
All right. Then you also have, in the religious aspect, you got God created man. You with me? And as Brother Saken and AnkhTwy were saying, is that your Adam story is a state and a point in the beginning. It's not the very beginning.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So your Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, Homo naledi, Homo habilis, these are anthropological names that predate your Adam and Eve.
So Adam, for want of an argument, could be the first sign of human throughout the
No, that was like
evolution period.
Let me tell you how you know that Adam and Eve are not the first people.
The different times that you mentioned.
Yeah, the time scales, yeah.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or maybe Adam came 5th or 6th.
No, they see, we have to deal with the facts, because we can't say maybe, like Nee said, right, the most intelligent people that study evolution of human beings are anthropologists. So today, the current up-to-date information is that they've now discovered that you have Homo naledi, Homo habilis, which would be the African, which were first. Then you have the Denisovan and the Homo florensis, which would be the Asian. Then you have the Neanderthal and the Cro-Magnon, which would be the Europeans or the Caucasian.
That kind of relates to my theory.
Let me finish.
Let
Let me just finish.
I'll explain in a
The
minute.
Cro-Magnon were wiped out because there was another one called the Basque, right? How you know Adam and Eve were not the first people is because if you look at the story, Adam and Eve were the first people. They had 2 children, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel, and then he was banished, and he was afraid people were going to kill him.
Yeah, and that's another question.
So the question then is,
There's other people
right? That's what I'm saying to you.
yeah.
That so they couldn't have been the only people on the planet at the time.
No.
Because there would have only been God, the devil, Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve have Cain and Abel, so there's only 4 people. Cain kills Abel. How many people should be left?
3.
Right.
Well, apparently there are other children
Right,
as well.
but then he was afraid when he was banished to the land of Nod that people were going to kill him. So these people that were there were already there before they came about, and there were some of them were the 200 fallen angels that were cast down to this planet. You see, so there are many ways you can see to say there couldn't have been the only people. Even when you look at everyone on the planet, you're like, if we all come from Adam and Eve, how comes we've got different complexions, different blood types, different hair textures, different ways, different heights? Like, how come? So then it goes to the point that there were other beings here who had children. Like in Genesis 6:4, it tells you that the Nephilims came and they had children with the daughters of men and produced children.
Adam and Eve was created by God, supposedly.
According to the story, yeah.
So where did those other people come from?
That's what we're saying. There were many Adam and Eve before that Adam and Eve that we're talking about. The Adam that is in the Bible is a graftation.
Our Adam and Eve comes.
Not our Adam.
No.
Our Adam had them, right? but
came at a certain point after these other people.
the Adam in the Bible, see, people don't realize when you're saying Adam, it's not one person. It's a group of people, a tribe called Adamites, which were actually grafted by extraterrestrials that came in, the Pleiadians, who were basically trying to produce a food source for the other reptilians and extraterrestrial beings that were eating them. So they were like, let's create a substitute for you. So they created the Adamites by mixing in the DNA of the Pleiadians to produce these new beings 6,000 years ago.
Where would I find this information?
It's actually in the Bible, but it's just that if you're not reading it in the language, you won't know this. Yeah.
I just want to add on Adam and Eve's story. Genesis chapter 1, as you said, verse 26 says, and God said, let us make man in our image and after likeness. Then it goes to verse 28, says, and God said, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Be fruitful means have sex, multiply, have children, and the operative word here is and replenish the earth. That means to replenish is like you finish your coffee, you want to refill your coffee. So there were people on earth before Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, in that word mole, which is in the Hebrew.
That makes sense.
Yeah, now, the thing also now is this is what the master, we wouldn't have known it was not for the master teaching. We would just skip over that like it didn't exist. You got Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 says, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, etc., etc. Did you know that there's a portion that was taken out of Genesis and put into Jeremiah chapter 4, verses 23 to 28, that talks about people on the planet Earth and cities and how there was a war taking place before you even hit chapter 1, verse 2.
And another thing is when you say Genesis, what does the word Genesis mean?
Beginning.
It doesn't.
No, look at the word. Look at the word.
This is the type of misinformation. People automatically think Genesis
Anything
means
to do with generation?
Exactly.
right. It's with genes, generations, genetics. Right. It's actually the genealogy of Isis. But the thing is, in the Hebrew, it's not even called Genesis. It's called Barashith. And bara means to recreate, to refill. That's why Apire is saying that wasn't the beginning of everything. It's the reconstruction or the refilling of the earth. Why did there need to be a refilling? Because there was a meteorite that hit the planet and drowned a lot of people. Some escaped, or they were able to go into the waterfalls, under the waterfalls, go into the caverns, go into the center of the earth known as Shambhala, and then came back out.
Is that the Noah story or something else?
No, that's
No, that's what I'm saying.
story.
You
That's
start
before
off
your
in
Noah
Genesis
story.
with a flood, because it tells you that it was void and darkness, and there was a craft, or the Spirit of God, as they put it, was hovering over the face of the deep. When you say deep, that's actually water. They made a whole movie called The Deep. So it was telling you that there were reptilian beings or aquatic beings that were already here living in the waters. Because then the whole story about Genesis is about these, and those beings that were hovering on the craft were your Enki and Enlil, and they basically were terraforming the planet. So they cleared the dust cloud after the meteorite shower, and then the sun rays started to come again, evaporating the water, forming what people call the firmament, right, separating land from water, and then beings came from water onto land. But they start off telling you like it's the beginning, but it's not. It's a recreation or reconstruction.
I know from what little knowledge I have that the earth started with water animals or mammals. Then where do the dinosaurs come in?
That's part of what they mention as the Tanin or great whale in your Bible story. So in Genesis, they talk about the great whale.
After the water mammals, it was the dinosaurs.
Well, no, the thing is, it's not after. It's not like a sequence of one thing, then another. Because if you study about the whale, for instance, the whale was actually a land creature, and then he went into the sea. And then from time, it evolved and lost its fins and became something else. So you had different evolutionary stages taking place. You with me? But what unfortunately they've done is they've marked it as the Pleistocene era, the this era, the that era, but really and truly.
So with the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
where did man come in? Before, after, or something?
They were walking alongside with them. Yeah, because
And they were actually eating humans, some of them. Remember you had the herbivores, and then you had, and then it got to a stage where they had to wipe them out because it was creating an imbalance on the planet. Yeah, so like Nee said, there are things going on at the same time on the planet, different locations with different beings or extraterrestrials at the same time. But the ones who came here first were our ancestors, who we refer to as the Negaru. And then you had beings like from Nirvana, who were more like dealing with the Asian and the Indian. They settled in Bali, and they talk about their deities like Vishnu, Krishna, and all of that.
Correction. The Vishnu, Krishna, and Shiva, etc.
And Brahma, yeah.
They, according to whoever, there is no date when Hinduism started.
Right,
precisely,
we know this.
that's what we're saying.
That's what we're saying.
That's exactly what we're
Hundreds and
saying.
thousands of years
Exactly.
before
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's precisely what we're saying. That's why we
so-
mentioned about Krishna.
Yeah.
As
so
being
they
like-
weren't there then. They were all. They've been and gone.
No,
No, that's what we're saying.
that's
They
what we're
were
saying,
there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
at different places, right?
Okay.
So this whole time thing, like if you want to have a timeline, you have to go back to before the planet itself formed and how did the planet form, right? But then that would take you into the different extraterrestrials. And the ones that came here first would be the Negaru. These are the ones that ended up in Egypt, and when people say the Netiru, which is the word that becomes nature, you see, because they were first. And then you had, once other extraterrestrials realized that this planet existed, they also started coming down here. And then they evolved as well. So that's why when we say that we all have different races, different blood types and so forth, is because all our ancestry go back to the different
How did the
extraterrestrials.
whale come to Earth without water?
No.
Good
The
question.
planet had water. It was a water planet.
No, but before it had to have travelled without water to get here.
Genes.
This is what we're
Genetics.
saying. Like
Yeah.
the dolphins were our ancestors, right? They were seeded, like our ancestors put the DNA or the genes in a capsule, put it into the dolphins. well, they were known as Vulcan beings, really. And then they came to this planet and seeded the planet with our life form. And then once the capsule melted in the waters, this is what I was saying, you have to go back to the beginning of the planet when you start to deal with like the amoebas and the algae and the single cells and how they evolved to create all the water beings, the different, like the whales, and there's millions of different beings. And then you have extraterrestrial beings that live in the waters till this day, like the sirens. And then, but we evolved onto water, and then, onto like land. I said, onto land, thank you. And then the different species and the mixes with different extraterrestrials come in, taking that which was already evolving, like the Anunnaki come, take the Pataites that were evolving, mix their genetics to produce what you might call an Adam, because when you go to the ancient Egyptian stories of the beginning, they talk about beings coming out of the waters as snakes and frogs. And these become your 8 Ogdoads and then the 9 Enneads. This is ancient Egyptian stories of the beginning, you see. So we have a book called The Beginning by the master teacher that covers the whole what you're asking us about.
Interesting.
Just to add something also, that a lot of people don't take into consideration the age of the planet. How old do you think the planet is? Earth
Millions.
is?
Exactly.
A bit more.
Many millions.
A bit more.
Billions?
Billions. That's right. What do you say?
That's
About 4 or 5 billion years old? Let's say 4 or 5 billion years old. How many civilizations have come and gone since 5 billion years?
Yeah,
more
many.
advanced than what we are now.
Yeah.
So
very possible.
So when we say that we quoted Genesis chapter 1 verse 28 where it says, "Be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth." How many times has the planet Earth been replenished? With the Sakan was mentioning about how the meteorites came and wiped out the dinosaurs. That was a replenishing. When he mentioned the word Barashith, which means the recreation period, that's just a recreation period. This planet Earth has gone through many beginnings, many in 5 billion years.
Yeah.
Right now, as we speak in 2026 AD, or we say HA, the hereafter, another replenishing is taking place right now as we speak, and the planet Earth is terraforming itself. The land is changing, and not only is the land changing, our
Global
mindset is changing, is revolving.
Yeah, they call it global warming, but it's actually terraformation.
Yeah.
What we've talked about and we mentioned, because what we mentioned about extraterrestrials. Know that there's many different species of extraterrestrials, and they have their children on this planet. Yeah, because don't think your fallen angels came here and then they just died away. They mixed in. Yeah, they had children. So those children are in our societies. They've mixed, they've become our relatives, our friends, our families, our lovers. They're here. So some of us are descendants of extraterrestrials. You see what I'm saying?
And the last point, when you look at yourself, you're evolving physically, but you have a spirit being that's also evolving. And we're at a time where people are becoming more conscious, because the conscious being, or the real you, we say Homo spiritus, you're evolving to becoming a more highly spiritual being. And this is happening by way of natural nature. So no one can actually stop that. No matter what, we're evolving, not just physically, but we're evolving as spiritual and soul beings as well. And that's what we're here to teach people about. Because the dogmas of religion and all that, they only focus on a small part of what they call his story. We say history, but it's his story. You have to go pre-his story, which they call prehistoric. Right? You go prehistoric, you're going to end up with what we call our story. So now we're giving our story as the original people on the planet, not his story when he started telling you about things from 6,000 years ago. You follow?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Where do we start?
Hey,
At the
welcome,
beginning.
Gus. We're at the beginning.
In the beginning.
Very beginning. Not in the very beginning.
Oh God! Oh God! Semantics.
No, you know, it's actually important because little words, because it tells you in the beginning was what? The word. So you have to break down the word, because words form the sentences. So if you can't break down the meaning of a word, you're already lost by the time you're putting a sentence together. So it may seem like we're being pedantic, but that's the difference between getting clarity and being lost in mistranslation.
I have a question. So you know how you spoke a little bit about saying not saying I believe, but I know and understanding. I heard a little bit about the discussion before. Where does, in your spirituality, where does humility come in with that?
Humility is part of nature, and everyone who knows that you don't know everything, you're learning, as we've said many times, and it's the ability to be able to know when you're speaking to different people, that to be humble. Like, just because you know so much information doesn't mean that you forget about how to treat people and to deal with, being mindful and loving and caring and all of that. So that's a part of what we teach. We are very humble.
And I will say, after having a conversation and looking at the court records, which I just did, just look at the court records.
You couldn't have looked at the court records in that space of time.
I looked at a little bit of court records,
okay,
and And to be fair, to you, Dr. York, it is very much clearly claimed that he did not have a fair trial. Mm-hmm. So I will with 100% say I'll give you that, just for clarification, because I don't want to belittle, mislead anybody. I think that is a very, very thing. Sociologists and some criminal scholars have said he did not get a fair trial. And these are objective people, not a part of any particular group. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
No problem.
But yeah.
Well done for doing your due diligence.
When you talk about humility, let's put it like this. We are student teachers, and that's a big deal, that word. The reason why we say that, because 1 minute you're in the seat of a teacher, the next minute you're in the seat of a student. So it's a two-way things. Now, this is how we describe it also, like this. Is that when we are studying, we are in the seat of a student, and we are uploading ourselves. When we are teaching, we are downloading. So we are in both seats simultaneously, that as a student and that as a teacher. So it's like this. This is what we say, that we learn just as much from you as you do from us.
Each one teach.
Can I ask just questions about spirituality, whatever? Would you say that your culture, is that a better way of saying it? Your culture would be, could I say that it's a black supremacist ideology?
We're not black, first of all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Do you want to go?
Okay, yeah. When you say black supremacy, we've got to put it in context, right? First of all, Wu-Sabat is our spiritual science and universal knowledge, meaning that this knowledge, Wu-Sabat, is for everyone globally.
Okay.
Correct? When you talk about supremacy or supreme, we have to acknowledge that who the supreme race is on the planet, who are on the planet first, makes them, for lack of a better word, closer to God. And remember, this is in actuality a black planet. You follow?
Okay.
So to clarify, when I said we're not black, when people use words, often they're relating it to colors, right? Like black, brown, yellow, green. If you look at us, this is black as we're taught. But if you look at our skin,
this is brown. Yeah.
Right. So you can't teach me that this is black, and this is brown, and then call me black when I can see there are two differences.
I feel you, yeah.
And so when we say we're black, we mean the state before there was light. It's supreme balance, because in the Bible it said, God said, let there be light. So before there was light, God was in darkness, in supreme balance. This is why till this day, when you want to go to sleep or rest, you turn off all the lights, because light can blind you. And the light of religion, when you start to look at the torch of Lucifer, right? It's the light of religion that's blinding the world of truth. So it's very important that we distinguish between, when we say black, we're talking about the state before there was light and not a color, because all colors combined make up black. And the absence of color is what's white. That's why white reflects light and black absorbs light. You see, so I just wanted to be very clear on that.
And also, at the very beginning, we were asking like just about names, and you said government name or a different name, right?
That's right.
So, and you talked about not being kind of not being almost not giving authority to the nation in which the world sees that we're in now, right? So having kind of living outside of that kind of thing. To what extent do you follow that?
We didn't say living outside of it. When you say government, you're literally saying govern the mental. So the governments govern how you behave and how you live. Taking it to the scriptures, it says you cannot serve two masters, right? Do you serve Caesar or do you serve God, right? So what happens is when you have your own culture, which is what we are, a culture will incorporate your language and how you do things. Now, because we're living in a society that is predominantly a Western society, and it's based on the code of Hammurabi, based of the Greeks and the Romans.
Hellenistic.
Yeah. We are not able to live the way we would live in our own environment,
So in a sense,
our own culture.
so say for instance, your religion, your culture allowed you to be polygamous. Then you wouldn't be able to be polygamous
No,
here because the laws says you can't be.
not necessarily, because even in the UK, you have different cultures. You have the Sikhs, the Chinese, the Hindus, and different people that practice their culture within here, the Jews, etc.
Yeah.
The funny thing about the polygamy thing is people make out like that's a Christian
That's a bad thing, yeah.
That because in Christianity, Abraham had 3 wives: Hagar, Sarah, and Keturah.
I mean, it
doesn't come from
in the Hebrew scriptures. You should say. I don't think you should say Christianity, but in the Hebrew
well,
scriptures.
is in the Hebrew Christianity.
Well, I'm saying,
Jesus a Jew?
So I'm saying in the Hebrew scriptures. So I think because if you say Abraham was a polygamist, which is true, but that's Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. So I don't think it's fair just to say it's just Christianity.
No. Okay, the monotheistic religion. Abrahamic religion. He's the father. So what I'm saying is Jesus had more than one wife, right? Even though some Christians will not accept that he was married. We can come to that.
I'm going to say, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say some Christians wouldn't do that.
Some
majority of Christians.
Okay, fine. True. But what I'm saying is the polygamy thing, when you look at nature, it's by design that a man can have more than one wife, because God intended it for you to be able to impregnate more than one woman at the same time. If that wasn't possible, because a woman cannot have
I'm not
4 children.
I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm not necessarily saying biblically polygamy is wrong.
Okay.
I think that in the Greek scriptures, the only time it talks about a prohibition of polygamy is talking about church leadership and those epistles. That's the only time it's saying it. But then what happened is the Western world has extended that to everybody else. That's
right.
But again, I'm not promoting polygamy. I'm not saying that.
I mean, what was the question based on? Was you trying to find out whether there's
no
culture?
No, I was asking just because I'm like, okay, so culture is, so for instance, in certain cultures that are in the East, in some religions, it's okay to have multiple wives.
Right.
Now, we know in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, you are not allowed to legally have more than one wife.
But that's what I'm saying.
Right?
But
so I'm saying that even if they want to practice that, they're part of their culture, they can't practice that. Or even like, for instance, female genital mutilation. You might be able, that might be a part of your culture, but legally you can't do that.
But what I'm
is there
saying to
anything?
you
Is there
is
anything
that-
a part of your culture that you can't participate in in the UK?
So remember when I was saying you can't serve 2 masters? So you're saying in the Bible, in the scripture, there are allowances for you to do that, but according to, say, a society and their laws, they're saying you can't do that. So which one is the correct one, or which one would you follow? Because one is man-made and one is commandments or from God, you see. So the whole thing about culture is in order for you to practice it, you have to be in your jurisdiction, in your environment, in your setting, which is what we had. We have our own land. We had over 476 acres of land where we were able to live and practice our
Where's
culture.
that?
Atlanta, Georgia, right? We would refer to that as Tamaray. But what happened is other society, the American government, basically came onto our indigenous sovereign land and stole it by incarcerating and taking our master teacher and then literally stealing our land. So now we're dispersed all over the world where we've been forced to live in the society we find ourselves. So we still have to abide by the law because we're now not under our own culture and our own jurisdiction. We can still practice it to the best of our ability until such time that we're able to regroup and have our own culture and everything again.
Do your families practice the same culture? Your whole families?
Well, you see, when you say family, sorry.
Oh my goodness! Uncle!
We have to.
Why? You're so pedantic, Uncle!
No, it's important.
You see the thing.
You guys all should be politicians, because I swear,
listen.
because every time I ask you a question, you never just go. I feel like being a kid and be like, Danny, can I go to my friend Carl's house? Well, you see the philosophy of all
no.
It's like, just answer the question, Dad.
Just take it. You can.
Let me just say a little bit and then I'll let you. Gus, this is what we're saying, that words are very powerful and very important.
I understand. I know several languages. I'm a scholar. I get that. But I'm saying, I keep asking you questions.
Yeah, but
and if you keep going like this.
No.
And I'm like, why you keep going on the M25? Just get to the center of London.
Listen. What we're saying is, you can use a word, but to different people, they'll have a different interpretation or meaning of that word.
I get that.
Yeah. The word family comes from the word familiar. So not everyone that is your blood family, you will consider family. Because we are family, right? But we're not from the same mother and father. So I'm just saying to you, like, we have to always be very clear for the listening audience that
your employment appraisals must take forever. Because I don't know how you do. I don't know how you do this. I'm like, they must take forever.
No, they don't, because what it is because you're new to it, it will seem that way. But once you learn something.
But do you in everyday part of life?
No, not everyday part. When we're teaching is a completely different thing.
Oh, okay.
When you're teaching a student, like when you're...
Okay, just wondering, because I'm thinking like you go to Sainsbury and someone says, oh, do you know where the oats is? And he goes, well, what does the oats really mean? You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Like, okay.
No, Gus, what we're saying is when we're teaching Wu-Sabat or right knowledge, like when you have a class with students, if it could be maths, you want to make sure that child really understands.
Yeah, but you understand the context in which we're coming from.
No,
you're assuming that your context is everybody else's context.
It's not.
I'm not assuming that. What I'm saying is, for instance, if we're at the driver's whatever, if I'm a police officer, I pull you over, and I say, oh, are those your kids? Are those your kids in the car? Are you gonna be like, well, what is kids?
All right, let me explain that.
Kids like,
do you know?
I mean,
let me answer the question.
That's how stop and search go really happen.
No,
if you do that, but I'm saying like how.
Do you know there's legal language, a complete different legal language?
Okay.
Legalese. Let me answer.
I'm going back to family.
You're asking the question, but you don't let me finish. I'm saying
because you keep going like this, and I'm like, just get to the point.
You just asked the question. If the police pulled you over, would you da? I'm saying to you, there's a legal language. Like understanding and overstanding are two different things. So if a policeman pulls you over and says, do you understand? That's legal terminology. Most people don't know that. But if I say, no, I don't understand, I overstand, that's a completely different context the conversation is going to go in. So what we're saying is there's legal language, there's everyday language, and there's scriptural language. There are different languages depending on the situation. So in this situation, we're teaching you about things that most people have been given misinterpretation or wrong information about. But I'm going to let you ask the question and I'll be quiet and let my brother answer it directly. But we are family.
We are family.
Yeah.
So in the genetic pool, we're not family blood related, but we are family because we have a culture. And in that culture, we know that we all came from the same seed. So in that sense, we recognize that we are one and the same. He's my brother, that's my sister, that's my sister. You understand? That's how we are, because it's a culture.
Human family,
It's
if
a
you want to
human
say.
family.
Okay, so genetically speaking, should I say that? Genetically speaking, do you have a wife?
Yes,
Do you have offspring, children?
I have offspring children.
Okay, and are all of them a part of the culture?
Yes.
Now, your biological mother, biological father that we talked about before,
Yeah.
are they a part of the culture
My
as well?
biological mother is, but not my father. He's deceased, but yeah.
He's deceased. I'm
That's
sorry.
That's right, yeah.
And is the same way for your
No, not all of us. But this is what I'm saying. Wu-Sabat is for everyone who will accept and practice or want to live that culture. But there are many people who don't. And we're not here trying to convince or convert people. What we do is we share our culture, and it's down to the person to decide if it's a way of life they want to be interested in and learn more about. It's like you've got a Muslim community or Muslim world that follow Islam. You've got a Christian community that follow Christianity, and Judaism and Jews that follow Jews or whatever, right? So we are the original where all these ways of life come from, but in its pristine form. So we're like, we predate all of these. We had a culture, we had a language, we have sciences, we have everything that we're sharing, but you've got watered versions of it, which have become your modern day Christianity, your modern day Judaism, your modern day, even the societies. They all went to Egypt to learn. This is what they call civilization. So they all went to Egypt to be civilized, and they come back to their countries like Europe and apply what they were taught, what they learned, but then incorporated their own culture. Like you said, the Greeks, a lot of them were homosexuals. There's nothing, we're not homophobic or anything, but we're just saying that this one wife and not having, that came from that culture. So when you go to other cultures, they were able to be, it's not even polygamy, that's a mistake of the word polygamy, because, you know, these things existed in Abrahamic times and so forth. So we're not here to like impress on other people what we live, you see? It's religion that normally be like, if you're not a Muslim, you're not a part of us. If you're not a Christian, you're not a part of us. Yeah, they've got a moral principle where it's like they seclude, and then within them, there are lots of segregation between the different denominations. Like you can say to a Christian, there's like a Seventh-day Adventist, Catholics, Protestant, you know, we can go on. And it's the same in Islam. You have Ahmadiyya, Sunni, Shiite, Nation of Islam. We bring everyone together under one banner as a culture of Wu-Sabat if they want to live that.
So I'm just thinking about social issues. I'm trying to understand it from a social context. And please, I'm gonna do my best
Just fine,
to use language
but
that
when
we
you
both
do, it's
understand.
clearer. Like when you get a biological parent, it's very clear. It's very clear to us.
You have to think and formulate a question.
Social issues that we all deal with in the world, especially in the United Kingdom, right? Things like LGBT plus people, right? So can you be a person that identifies as LGBT plus and be a part of your culture?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And be able to actually celebrate yourself in that?
Yes.
We have our culture, we have our rules and regulations, commandments, whatever, you know, governs our culture, and you either live by them or you don't.
What's in your bedroom stays in your bedroom. But you don't try to then enforce it like what society does now. They promote certain things. They promote homosexuality in a very perverted way. Do you get what I'm saying?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, like for instance, when you watch certain movies and in TV, it's not in an affectional way. Sometimes it's more in a licentious way. Do you get what I'm saying?
How's it different than the regular culture?
That's what I'm saying. The culture that we live in is what I'm saying. They promote certain things.
I'm a gay man myself, so I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand. Because I don't see any difference between the way the culture. I don't see culture promoting homosexuality. I see.
You do if it's all over the media, because it's your personal preference. Like if you
It's not
choose to,
it's not a preference. Let's not say that.
no, but I'm saying
Bro,
no,
like,
you choose to be that.
Uncle, no, you don't choose to be that. Uncle,
What I'm saying- okay, let me explain what I mean.
Uncle,
what I'm saying.
That's a bit. That's a bit.
No, fine enough.
Let me explain what I mean. I'm saying, if you are all right, I'll just say if you are gay, if you're whatever your sexual preference is, that's your personal.
I don't. Please,
let me
please,
finish.
but please don't.
Or sexual orientation.
Orientation. Please don't say preference because that is identify
whatever
a
your
choice.
sexual. I mean, we could go into deep and go into why I say what I'm saying, but we leave that at that.
Yeah, but you're
I'm
also
saying,
you're also an older black man that comes from a particular culture that I don't come from. So you would use language that people might would use as well. But that's a whole other thing.
What I'm saying is, when I look at you and I look at me, we share the same DNA. So you could say what you just said, but in actual factual terms, our DNA is of the same pool. As African people, as I said, the anthropologists now have classified different races into these groups, yeah? So
That's a social construct, but yeah.
it's not a social construct.
It's a massive social construct.
It's not.
But go
It's dealing with actual DNA that they've gone and
Race is a social construct.
Yeah,
Anyway,
races, yeah.
okay, but let's not digress.
Yeah.
All we're saying is that whatever your sexual orientation is, has nothing to do with you learning and studying and practicing
Wu-Sabat.
the culture of Wu-Sabat.
Most cultures, religious groups, whatever, would say the same thing. Okay? They would say the same thing.
Not necessarily. Some
They
people
would say the
kill
same-
people for being, they're homophobic and they actually chastise people of different sexual orientation.
Let me finish. Most cultures and religions would say the same thing what you just said, but they would say, yeah, you can learn, you can study, but in actuality, practice how you live your life. You can't do if you want to be a part of us. You can't do all that.
That's why I said to you about the pervertedness, because there's things that you can practice naturally. It's not just human beings that are homosexual or.
Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
There's giraffes, there's monkeys. Homosexuality is not just privy to human.
It's a natural thing. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. So when you're practicing it naturally, where you're showing affection, etc., to another man, woman, etc., that's natural nature. But when you start to pervert it and then push it onto others, is what we're saying. And that's what we're saying.
In a particular way.
And what I'm saying that I don't see any different from how straight people push that on other people.
What do you mean? Like, you mean heterosexual people?
Yeah.
You don't see the difference?
I don't see.
Because
for me,
because we're living in a culture that say that's okay. You see what I'm saying? And they've always denigrated.
So you say pushing any sexuality, regardless of heterosexual or homosexual,
most
is
Western
wrong.
cultures have denigrated other orientations. Yes or no? Most Western cultures. Hellenistic cultures have denigrated because you're coming from the Greeks and the Romans. Remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah? And they're the ones that have stipulated, and that this is a wrong act. You see what I'm saying? In many other cultures that predate these things, they have seen that as a natural part of
Yes, I agree with that, yeah.
You understand? So what we're saying in Wu-Sabat, it's not about your sexual orientation. It's if you're practicing it in natural nature, in accordance with natural nature, that's you. But when you then start converting other people, saying that this is the right way, or we are this, or you're perverting it, like what they do on television with whether it's heterosexual pornography or homosexual pornography and all these, that's perverting.
Okay.
Do you understand?
So I think the thing is, when you said either one, heterosexual or homosexual, it's not a pushing of sexuality. I get that now. I thought you were just saying, because the way you said it was how I took it was, yeah, you can do that behind closed doors.
No.
But I don't want. But I don't.
Saying, it's not up to me to say what you're doing as a homosexual that is wrong.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's your privacy. And this is what we're saying, that what you practice in your private room, when you're walking with your lover, etc., that's intimacy, that's affection. We also, as heterosexuals, will do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's when it's perverted.
And part of the culture, you would have no problem with your children or grandchildren
No.
being homosexual.
No.
Well, the thing is, we have to look at sexuality and even the word
No, seriously,
sex.
seriously.
You have to listen because
yeah.
it's our culture, right? It's
Okay,
our
I'll go. Okay, I'll go.
Let's break it
if
down.
you look at procreation, right, having a legacy and having children, because that's where sexuality originally originated from. It was to be fruitful and to multiply. Now, if you are not heterosexual, how are you going to be fruitful and multiply in terms of having offspring? So there are reasons why our preference would be one man, one woman, so we can produce children and have a legacy to continue with. However, if people choose to do otherwise, that's
So what if
their
you can't reproduce even with your wife?
But that's not going to be everyone. That's where the whole thing you asked about.
But a lot of people can't.
Yeah, but this is why I explained that there were reasons for having more than one wife. If one of your wives could not have children, you could have another one that could. So there was a legitimate, valid reason for having more than one wife. It's not just based on personal sexual gratification. It's about what's the reasoning behind why you do something. And when we look at it like we want to be fruitful and multiply and to grow and continue, then we have to have females to have offspring with.
Do you have multiple wives?
No, not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
I don't, but I may choose to.
Uncle, I don't know how you can
another
afford
time.
that in this day and age.
Well, there you go. See?
Just saying.
That's what I'm saying. It all depends. Or would I even want to do that?
Yeah.
Because most men can't even deal with one woman, let alone four, right? And
It's true.
And
It's true.
And it's about being fair to all of them. In our culture, you can't have. This is the difference, right? In the society we live in, people who are not honest about having multiple wives, they will still cheat and sneak around and be promiscuous, which is even more dangerous
That's
because
they're looking for promiscuity.
yeah, it's very dangerous because there are diseases and everyone's lying and not telling. Whereas if it's in a controlled environment and you all know who is with who and all, it makes more sense. So even though people will shun it, the society we live in, people have multiple boyfriends and girlfriends.
And now, again, me asking that question wasn't this like shame upon you.
We'll take any question, and it's good that you're asking it because there are many people who may have that question that you're asking, and it's for them also.
Because as a scholar and a psychologist, I looked at loads of stuff about. There is lots of studies that people say actually we're not meant to be monogamous. Monogamy comes from white European-centric Christian outlook, whatever, blah, blah. And we're looking at that. And obviously within the secular ethics, you see people who are like, oh, like that's why you have loads of people that have polyamory and stuff like that. Obviously that comes from a secular ethics, not from any spirituality in that sense. And that is a legitimate question that people are asking each other in the academy.
In a culture, you're going to have different people with different orientations, and we cater to everyone. So I hope that's answered your question.
No, it does, yeah.
I just want to add as well is that somebody, because we've got the OSM channel on the Telegram, somebody asked me a question, wrote in saying...
Sorry, say it again?
Somebody asked me a question, sent me a question saying about they have an orientation towards a transgender. What do I think about it? I said it was up to them, that's their preference. If you want to go for transgender, that's up to you, because we do not say what you do behind closed doors, that's your affair. You see, but
the thing about the whole LGBT transgender thing, there is a spiritual and a scientific aspect to it, which most people don't know about or are not taught about, right? Because when you look at a being, you're looking at gender, right? A male being an XY and a female being an XX. There are other gender types, XYX, YXY, that most people are not taught about. Because physically you can be male, but spiritually, you could have a female spirit, and vice versa. You could be
female mentality,
or female mentality, right? So on the outside, you look like a man, but on the inside, you feel like a female because you have a female spirit, and vice versa. Where a woman can look physically female, but on the inside, she has a male spirit, right? So a lot of people don't understand these dynamics, so they say to everyone, I look like a man, but I actually feel like I'm a woman. So what they do is try to change their gender physically to match how they feel internally.
That's right.
And so this is where they will go about with the whole transgender, you know what I mean? Trying to change their sexual organs to match how and look how they feel on the inside. Then you have the other part of it where you have extraterrestrials that are playing games on the planet. There are extraterrestrials that want you to produce a lot of offspring so they can have food, because they literally breed in humans for food. There is the androgynous agenda where you have beings from Andromeda that are here, and they're also trying to push a particular gender narrative. So this is all the control mechanisms on the planet that people are playing into without realizing what's going on. So it's not just based on one level. There are multiple like complexities in terms of the whole gender and, you know, agendas from people that want to push a particular.
Oh, well, can I just one more question? One more question.
Okay.
Is there anything that you disagree with Dr. York?
No.
That's him. With us, he encourages us to constantly ask questions, check things out. And he always says, don't believe me, check it out. So even though we've, personally speaking, many, many years I've studied, like I said to you at the beginning, my journey was trying to find answers. And many people couldn't answer the questions, and he's been able to answer every single question. So over time, I've got to learn that there's nothing he says that is wrong, right? So I could take the view to say, I believe everything he says, but he wouldn't even encourage that. He would be like,
check it out.
Go and check it out for yourself so that you make the decision. Because when you accept someone else, you become a believer. You just believe what I say. We tell you not to believe anything we've said to you today, but to go and check it out for yourself.
So would you die for him?
Yes, I would. But not in a stupid, like, he tells you to die and you just die. Like,
jump over the, like, Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, but
we don't do Heaven's Gate. No, we don't do.
But why I say that is like the conviction of, do you believe in something strong enough that you give your life to it and sacrifice for it? Yes, definitely.
And the only reason, really quick, the only reason why I say that is because I don't know many people, because of course all the people, I'm going to say religion, all the different religions of the world, the people who are Messiah or figurehead have gone already. So it's interesting speaking to people who say, actually, there's someone who is living today that has all knowledge, all truth, that I'm willing to die for.
People say about Jesus.
Well, yes, of course people say about Jesus, but I'm saying, there isn't a person that can be like, here you are. And I just think that that's fascinating to me, saying, because I never met someone who says, this right here, this person right now, I would die for.
What's up?
So, yes.
Okay, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. So I have a few questions.
Absolutely.
And I want to start by saying, like, in life, there's sin and there's righteousness. Or some people might say good and bad. And from a Christian perspective, sin would be in some way self-harm. So you're doing bad things that can harm yourself and harm others. And then righteousness would be doing good. So doing good to benefit you, to benefit others, to add value. But in your perspective, what is sin? Or is there even such thing as sin?
The thing is, can one exist without the other?
Can righteousness exist without sin? I would have to think about that.
Right. See, the reason I asked you that is because of the doctrine of turning the other cheek in Christianity. Meaning, like, someone can do something wrong to you and you turn the other cheek. So if I slapped you on one cheek, would you turn the other cheek for me to slap the other cheek?
No, maybe. Maybe.
You wouldn't. If we're being honest,
you wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Because if I keep slapping you and slapping you and slapping you, there's going to get to a point where you're going to be like, you know what, enough is enough. And you're going to retaliate. So Christianity that tries to teach you to be good all the time, it's unrealistic, or to never sin. This is why when people do sin, they get shunned and get told you're going to hell and you're going to be damned and all this other stuff that comes along with it to make you feel guilty. But in reading the scripture, the first time you hear that word sin, because again, the question we ask as Nuwapians of Wu-Sabat is, who created sin and what would be the purpose and the reason for it? Because if we admit that God created everything, we have to admit he created sin, which wouldn't make sense, because you're told that you have free will to choose good or evil, or bad or good, or sin or righteousness, as you put it. But if you choose to do other than what God wants you to choose, which is, say, sin, or as you say, do something that's not righteous, he then punishes you, which means you didn't have choice in the first place, or you're only allowed to choose what he wants you to choose. And in the Bible, the word sin is referring to a person who was tempting somebody, and it's an order of sin, which is, the person is known as Nana Sin, right? It says sins lies at the door if you choose to go against God, you see. So people that don't really study the scriptures don't realize that it's just like you having a friend that has bad influence and wants you to go, let's go smoke weed, or let's go drink alcohol, or let's go and be promiscuous, or let's go to the club, let's go and do these other things that they would consider to be unrighteous, as opposed to, no, let's go and study, let's not smoke, let's not drink, let's eat healthy, let's do the things that's going to be better for you and more, beneficial. So that whole point, we deal with balance, and we deal with, yes, leaning to the righteous side or the positive side, but recognizing that we can always sometimes be tricked or fall to what people call sin, but we work to improve ourselves continuously to stay on the side of righteousness.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you're your own judge. You with me? You judge yourself. Why do you judge yourself? Because you have that inner divinity inside you. You know, we mentioned earlier about the teachings, you know, scripturally or whatever, that you have the Most High or God or this being, he blew a portion of himself or itself, essence into you. So you are that divine being. So you ultimately know when you're committing something that's against or beneficial for you. Do you understand? So you ultimately judge yourself. What's happened is when these Europeans took these teachings or these scriptures, they canonized it, dogmaed it, and produced it in a way where it's made to seem like if you do something now, you got a place to go and a place, you know, where you're going to be condemned, and a place where you're going to be spending eternal life and happiness with this particular being called God. Yeah, that's where your heaven concept and sin and all of these come from. But really and truly, you know when you're about to do something negative. You know when you've done something helpful to someone. So the being, the divinity is in you, and it's about balance, like the brothers mentioned. Yeah, knowing how to balance and not affecting your own being, because the ultimate sin really is you taking your own life. That's the biggest, in the sense of that, you know, what you call sin. You know, destroying your own being and destroying others in the process. Okay, that's what really comes down to.
Yeah,
you know,
suicide, taking away life. That's not even you didn't even create
exactly.
Life. Like for me, like from a Christian perspective, because I'm a Christian, I have to talk from the perspective, and there is, like we spoke about, free will choice. You know, if you choose sin, like how does sin even get there? Some people say, what if God is good, then why did he create sin? And one of the answers to that from a biblical perspective is that actually God didn't actually create sin. Sin was the consequence of disobeying God. Sin is what came into place.
Yeah,
when
I said that because you said he's omnipotent, so he can get rid of sin by clicking his fingers then. So the question would be, if sin is a bad thing, murders and raping and stealing and all of that stuff, and he can get rid of it, why doesn't he get rid of it? Because,
can I answer?
Yeah, I will, but because I'm saying it's either he can't or he likes it. Okay.
I would say that's why we have Judgment Day, because like the Bible talks about the cup of iniquity and sin being full and God bringing about judgment. Because
no, but I'm saying, are you saying that God can or cannot get rid of sin?
He can and he will, and that day is already set and in the scriptures.
Okay. Why can't he do it now?
he can do it now. But there is a judgment day, and there's a reason why he's allowing it to be. Man has free will. Remember, he gave man
I hear
free
you.
will.
Yeah, you said
So-
judgment day, yeah?
Yeah.
What would be the purpose of judging something if you already know?
So I think that goes back to free will and looking at why God gave us free will. Because if he didn't give us free will,
remember I said you don't have free will because there's a consequence to your choice. There's a punishment when you choose. So that's not free. Something that's free doesn't have any attachments or consequence to it.
well, the way that I look at that word is like I can choose to go right or left. I can choose good or
Right.
bad. And when you choose bad, there has to be a judgment or
Why?
consequence for it.
If it's free though, if it's free, that's what I'm saying. Remember you said free will. If it's free, then there shouldn't be no
Consequence.
it's like if I say you can have this free,
Yeah.
but then I say, yeah, but now
Yeah,
you
but I
owe
wanna
me
take
some
it
money,
back,
I want
yeah.
to take it back or give me something.
It's not free.
I get what I get what you're saying, but I think we're looking too much. What's the word? I think it may be being pedantic.
No, we're being clear and
Clear,
crystal clear
yeah.
on what we're saying. Because you can't say one thing and then contradict it in the other hand, because then that's confusion.
And that's what's happened throughout your scriptures, where there's constant contradictions. You with me? Like saying that you shall surely die when you eat all the
quote the
fruit.
scriptures a lot. You see,
Well,
you're
yeah,
saying there's-
because you're familiar with
Because
it.
that's what you're
them.
familiar with.
I could start saying, all right, let me give you an example. In the Bible, it talks about the word chata, which means that's where you're getting the word sin from.
But do you believe there's truth in
Hold
the
on,
scriptures?
hold on. So this chata, okay, which means affliction, sin, etc.
I want to
or
know.
death.
I want to know what you actually believe.
Remember,
because
we
you quote the
started off
scriptures a lot.
from the
That's what-
beginning
But
telling
do you
you.
believe there's
we-
truth in it?
remember-
before
no, but-
you try and take the credibility of the
There's-
Bible away, what do you
there's-
believe about the Bible? Because
You know what?
I
You
don't want
asked
us.
us
I don't want us to talk about the Bible. I want us to talk about the Bible with respect.
Okay, remember,
Yeah?
we started off from
Remember.
the beginning answering the belief question.
Exactly.
We said we don't believe.
Yeah.
We deal with knowing, factual, and evidence. So when you keep trying to say, do you believe it? We already told you that we don't deal with the belief of it, we deal with the facts of it.
Okay, you believe in
Are there facts in the Bible then?
Well, okay, first and
Yeah,
foremost,
some.
how many books make up the Bible?
66.
66. Who told you that?
I've looked at the Bible myself and
But what about if I
seen-
told you that was canonized? You know what canonized means?
Does that word come from Canaan?
No. Canonized means when the Nicene Council came together, they had a whole bunch of books and they took what they preferred
And selected.
and compiled it together. That's called canonization.
So there are many books you don't know about because they didn't put them in that book for you to know about. And when you put the pieces, it's like trying to build a puzzle. You got all the pieces, someone has hidden a few pieces, so you can't finish the picture. So that's why we go into the books that left out. We go into the beginning before the Bible came to be, and we even break down what you have in the original languages so that it's crystal clear. So you can see that you're being bamboozled by these extraterrestrial beings like Enki and Enlil, who one will tell you do something, it's okay to do it. The other one will come along in another chapter and go, no, you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? So one will say, if you eat the fruit of that tree, you're going to die. One will come along and say, no, you're not going to die if you eat it. So then they eat it and they don't die. But the person that was telling you you're going to die is God. So God was lying. And then you will say God is good and he doesn't lie. That's why I said if God can be everywhere at the same time, he has to also be in hell. But no, hell is only reserved for bad people. You see what I mean? Like, it's so much confusion. They will tell you that Adam and Eve were the first people. But we're like, but there's other people before them because they were there. He'll tell you that they took the rib of a man to create a woman. We're like, but that doesn't make sense. It's back to front because every person comes from a woman. So as you start going through the entire book, you start to see the lies. And unfortunately, someone has made this thing where if it's something good, they say, oh, God did it. If it's something bad, he blames it on the devil. So we say, who created the devil? Why would you create a devil? They'll say, no, he wasn't a devil before. He was an angel, but he went bad. They're like, where was God when he was going bad? And why did God not stop him from going bad? He allowed him to go bad, to do devilish things, so he can look good when, if there's an accident, let's say there's two people, one crosses over from the accident and one doesn't. Everyone go, oh, thank God for the person that survived. But we're like, where was God and why did he not stop the other person from not surviving? It's because it sounds nice. It's a nice little concept where everything bad can be blamed on sin and the devil, and everything good can be blamed on God. But you say, who's more powerful out of God and the devil? Who is?
Okay, well, God, of course.
Obviously not, because if he was, he would get rid of the devil and get rid of everything and stop sinning on the
But
planet.
then that's why we have, like, as I said before, there's Judgment Day and there's a place called Hell.
So,
That's what I'm saying.
okay, so would you tell that to a person who's just had a lost son,
Well,
who believes in Christianity, that, oh, there's a judgment day for your son, even though he's done no sin?
you wouldn't say that to someone who's just lost their child because you would want to be sympathetic.
But they won't
to his son.
understand why God took their son.
Well, some people already understand that. Some people already know
That their son, they've done no sin, but their life was taken. So what's the point of sin?
No. Like, one day I might lose my son, and I might go to someone and be like, well, it could be a leader or a preacher, and say,
But
"Do
they
you know
haven't
what?
sinned.
I just lost my son."
Yeah, but they haven't sinned.
And I could ask that to someone else.
You're not hearing me.
Yeah.
You said sin is at the end of judgment. And I said your son hasn't sinned. So why did God take their life?
Let me ask you the same thing. Why do people die? If your son or my
People
son
die
died today,
because
why?
of circumstances.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a natural,
It's a natural thing.
it's a process of life.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you a question. The question you posed to us, which is about the Bible. Do you regard it as true? Well, the master put it like this: to say the Bible is all true is wrong, and say the Bible is all false is wrong. There's just enough truth, like a pinch of salt, to hook people onto the Bible. Like, for example, you get a portion of chips. You're not going to pour the whole bowl of salt on the chip. You just pour enough to give that spice, that taste, that flavor to your portion of chips. And the Bible is like that. Okay. Now, in terms of judgment,
But what about all the characters in the Bible that go across, like Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, like David, Solomon, Adam, Eve, these characters, people like Jesus, who are not just a religious.
That's what he just said to you, because the little
but
salt,
factual.
the salt that he's talking about is Egypt. That's why I said to you, they all went to Egypt. So that's the little salt to hook you, and then they give you a different rendition of the original story.
But the one thing I'm still trying to understand, still trying to get is, when you say they all went to Egypt, like Moses, Jesus, Joseph, that like
Solomon,
all these people, Solomon, like
Abraham.
these people went to Egypt, but are you saying that's from a factual that happened, or are you saying that's what religion says?
according
You
to the
said
Bible.
God is all powerful. But he sent, because of a famine, he sent Abraham, Isaac, Jacob to Egypt because of a famine. Is he all powerful?
He couldn't feed them.
But what I just want to double check is, do you think that really happened, or do you think that's made up?
No, it's made up.
Now let's give an example of what we say for that. Go to Egypt. Abraham went to Egypt and met up with a pharaoh called Abimelech. Did you know, if you do some research, there is no pharaoh
Called Abimelech.
called Abimelech? Moses went to Egypt. And he met up, they say he met up with a pharaoh. I ask Muslims, what is the name of the pharaoh? What do they say? Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, yeah.
I goes, no, that's just his title. What was his name? Which dynastic period? They can't answer it. They say, oh, it could be Ramesses II. There's no mention of Moses going into Egypt, meet up with Ramesses II. Jesus went to Egypt. Where about in Egypt did he go? They don't know.
No records.
That's what I'm saying.
See, so that's what we just said. There's just enough salt to hook the people. What people don't realize, religion, the definition of religion is interference of the dead into the lives of the living, which is another way of saying necromancy. We may not like how it sounds, but that is what it is. And that's why Are Wu-Sabat and we are here to set the record straight. You may not like it, but it is what it is.
Like,
And
for
when
me-
he says
for me,
necromancy, right? You remember, you eat the flesh of Christ and drink his blood when you go to church.
Let's be
So-
careful here, because I have to strongly disagree with that, because actually Christianity doesn't agree with necromancy. Actually, it preaches against that.
So when
So I
Catholics
can't- I
go to
wouldn't-
church
I can't
and
agree
they
with that.
the Eucharist and they take the flesh of Christ. and
Catholic
drink-
is one branch. Not every branch.
Catholic
of
is the
Christianity.
original though,
But
that where everyone comes from.
Not
Christianity
everyone
originates.
Not everyone agrees with what the Catholic teach. With what?
Yeah, no, but what I'm
Catholics
saying
teach.
is, it
It's the
was the
center.
first
It's the
original
first
one.
Original.
I disagree. Because
Okay, what?
at the end of the day, there are different teachings. Not every Christian is gonna believe. Agree.
So they all have different
That's why
versions.
there's denominations.
That's why they have different versions.
There are different teachings, but I wouldn't put I say every single Christian has the same beliefs.
Well, no, what we're saying to you, like the point we're making is the Bible is a plagiarized book. It's not original. It's not authentic. The stories in there are coming from ancient Egypt. That's why you're using words like Solomon. You're saying Sol, all right, Om, and On, which is dealing with Heliopolis, Memphis, and Thebes, right? When you start looking at Moses, they tell you he was found in a basket and all of that, and he grew up in Egypt. There is no Moses as a person found in Egypt. That person is coming from, the Muslims say Musa or Moshe in Hebrew. That person is from Thutmose. He was a being that sat under the being Tahuti, and he learned and studied under Tahuti. That's where you get the word Tahutimus, which becomes Mose or Moses. You see what I'm saying? So we're saying to you, when you trace everybody's journey back to Egypt, there were basically people that went to Egypt to be taught the ancient Egyptian mysteries. And those mysteries is how Christianity became what it is today, where you had Osiris, this is the Greek rendition of Osiris, Isis, and Horus, which becomes God, Jesus, and Mary. But you can go to different cultures. In the Sumerian culture, that would be Damuzi, Ishtar, and Tammuz. You see what I mean? So these versions you're reading today, they're not telling you the truth. But if you really want to know the truth, you have to go to the origins or the roots of where they're getting these stories from. And that's what we're telling you.
And
So can I ask though, because I have seen this symbol before. It's like an eye, but like see, I just wanted to ask like.
I think I got it on my crown.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's like an eye, but I just wanted to ask like what it means.
Okay, we've really jumped from.
I know it's a bit.
So you want to know the real truths about ancient Egypt?
Because you did say just mentioned the name Horus, right? And I think I've seen that sign and I've
Horus.
seen it related to Horus before.
Yeah.
So that's what it's linked, and that's why I asked that question.
Yeah, what is there's many
meanings
behind these symbolisms. It's also it has many symbolic meanings. One is like the right eye of Horus was plucked out during a fight, and it was restored, and the right eye is symbolic of his father Osiris or Osari, you see, the all-seeing eye. But there's many. It also ties into the pineal gland, and where the pineal gland sits within the brain. So there are many. We call it Ramazat. There are many meanings to our Ramazat, to our symbols. You see. So
and the eye, the third eye. This is what we're saying. Like the whole story in the Bible about Adam and Eve eating the fruit. If you remember, they were walking around, they could see the tree, they saw the serpent. So obviously it wasn't talking about these eyes, right? Because when they ate the fruit is when their eyes became open, which is to what? To know good from evil, to go back to your question. So these Elohim, right? This is what it was saying to them, like when you open your third eye, right? And now today everyone's talking about the third eye, which is what the symbol represents, because you got chakras that you have to activate or align, and the crown chakra is the one that people are talking about, the pineal gland. But we as Negaru, we have 9, but the Asians and most Eastern teachers, they only go to 7. And this is what the journey is about. It's really about you learning how to open your third eye so that you can check this word out, realize, or your real eyes will open so you will see what's really going on, because until you open that eye and see, you're going to be bamboozled.
Your eyes
and
must be made
your
single.
eyes are going to be closed. Yeah, your eyes has to be made single. And then you go into what I said before about what does that mean when you activate that third eye, because it starts to deal with your pituitary gland, starts to deal with your pineal gland, and how you can then access, when you get your full powers back with the barothry gland, to use your entire brain and to be able to be a supreme being. These are the sciences that they're not going to teach you in religion.
I feel like we're looking through like different lenses. We're seeing like religion, spirituality, Christianity. We're seeing it differently, but there are areas where we can agree on. Like there are certain facts you're saying from the Bible that are true, and
there's about 10% of the Bible that's true, and that's the hook and the salt that we're talking about, right? Because it's taken from the ancient Egyptian mysteries and schools. So we're not seeing from the same glasses. That's what I'm saying. Like,
we're not seeing from the same lens.
Right. Because have you watched a movie called They Live?
They Live, no.
That's a recommendation for you, yeah? Because it shows you what we're saying here. Like, there's so many messages and subliminal messages and things that have been put in your face, but like you say, not everyone can see that there are messages behind the message that we...
I was going to say, the master teacher said a thing. He said that he didn't come giving us religion. He said, I had to make it believable to myself so I can make it believable to you. He said that basically religion is a waste of time. Because it's a waste of time. It does nothing for us. Because what I really come to give is what he's given us now is this right knowledge. What we are now passing on to humanity.
I personally, the word religion, I'm not the biggest fan of the word religion as such. I believe that one of the most important things, like what I started with, there's righteousness and sin, and recognizing that righteousness is beneficial for you, but beneficial for others. Sin is harmful for you and harmful for others. I don't really believe in religion as such, but I believe in relationship, understanding the relationship with God, the Creator, understanding why He created us, why we're
you're
here,
saying that, but all of that is
purpose.
actually religious based. Because if you took away religion completely, put the Bible aside, and lived as you're saying, then anyone on the planet who's living that way would be what we're dealing with. But when the religion comes into it, what it does, it creates separations and divisions and opinions, and this is how we do things as a part of this group of people. Yeah. And if you don't follow and do what we do, then you're not part of us.
That's always said, that the deity, the God that you're looking for is in you. That's you are that good deity.
Right, two things I want to ask.
Sure.
Do you believe in karma? And if you do, how do you... Sorry, I don't want to use the word believe, but that's all I know right now.
It's fine.
How do you... Because I've heard that you can have good karma, which I don't believe, that part. But how do you break down karma?
What do you know or call karma?
I think I'm going to speak how I speak.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the karma to the wrong people gets to them. Yeah. Okay. That's my true feeling.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Karma is really what you do to people, or how you treat people
to you.
It will return to you. Right?
Okay.
But we have to look at that as energy. The energy you dispense, because when you look at energy, you're dealing with action and reaction. Yeah. So for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. So yeah, that's also, people then would tie reincarnation to that, meaning that the life that you say, you live a life and you come back again, you're gonna now face the consequences of what you did in your previous life. Or it might be your offspring or people within your family that will get that karma.
Right.
So when you say you want the people that are doing wickedness, sin and all that to get their upcomings or their karma, it's happening right now.
It is?
Yes, because the result of what has taken place in the last 6,000 years of what we refer to as the moon cycle is what we're talking about when we say religion was introduced. and it was introduced to control people. And the beings or the deities over these religions, they were basically bloodlusting, bloodthirsty, warmongers, and they have introduced that into the life that people live today. So when you see people behaving and acting, a lot of that behavior is learned behavior from their deities. That's why we say, who created sin? You go back to if you say God, Allah, Jehovah, whoever, they created everything. So they're responsible for sin. Who created hell? They're responsible for it. Who created competitions and fighting amongst each other? They did that. The first sword was created by God because he put angels on the gates when he was like, you're banished, can't come back into heaven, so I'm going to place, these beings with swords at the gate. So you get this cherubim and seraphim. So karma is really about, when we say if you live a particular way of life, like if you look at Africa and the culture that we practice, they never created no atomic bombs. They never went to any other countries and subjugate and colonize them and took their stuff. Like, you have to look at what race of people on the planet have done that to everybody else. Because you're going to have offspring on the planet that are children of God. And you're going to have offspring on the planet that are children of the devil, or these Nephilims that came here. So you look at what they did, and you will see that the people on the planet today will mimic who they subscribe to. So I don't know if that helped you, but
it does.
I don't know if the brothers want to add anything.
I just want to add a build to that, and how the Master Teacher put it. He wrote a book many years ago called Breaking the Spell on Blacks, and in there, it talks about mercy, forgiveness, and justice. And so he broke it down. Mercy is a delay of justice. Forgiveness is temporary transference of guilt from the guilty to the forgiver. And it goes, justice is not for the amount sown, but for the amount reaped. So one person may do a crime, but what's sprouted or what germinated from that one crime, right? Not only is that individual who committed that crime is guilty, but everyone who participated from that one crime.
Are we talking like the enablers with that crime? Not if one person's done something, the enabling people that are around that person.
That's right.
As well. Okay.
That's right. So so you got mercy, forgiveness, and justice. You see. So now, when you talk about karma now, like I said, you got good karma and bad karma, and that ties in to what Saken was alluding to, what we call cause and effect. You see, from every cause there is an effect. Now, what we have to do, once we recognize within ourselves that we have done wrong, what we should do is, I want to reverse that karma and do as much good as I can to balance the scales.
So when I said about the people on the planet that are responsible for a lot of the chaos, these would be your Adamites. These are the children of these disagreeable beings. Like I said, when they said, let's make man in our image and our likeness, you're dealing with those Pleiadians and the Anunnaki that made these beings in their image and likeness. So when I said to you also that now it's happening now, it's because they were given 6,000 years to rule and have dominion over the planet. But at the end of the 6,000 years, they're going to be wiped off the planet. And that is from the year 2000. So these Adamites are now being removed off the planet because of their iniquities and all the devilishness and all the chaos that they've created. And that was programmed into their DNA, into their telomeres, which are the end of the chromosomes. So that's what's happening now, where they're becoming extinct. The fertility rate is non-existent right now. All these diseases like COVID and hurricanes and the tornadoes, the wars that are going on right now, it's all designed for them to basically wipe each other out.
And the only thing we have to do, really, is stay out, well, not the only thing, but one major thing we have to do is stay out the way and let the evil kill the wicked.
If the things I want to say right now, man, I'll tell you.
So what,
the things
what makes it so
you know.
difficult is because we've now acclimatized ourselves in their society. So some of us now have inherited their characteristics, their way of life, their culture, and it makes it very difficult now to actually remove yourself from that.
Yeah.
So that judgment time, when we say AD, they say Anno Domini, we say that after Adam's calendar. AC, or the creation of Adam, because that's what it's actually dealing with. It was the creation of Adam from what Seken's saying, that 6,000 year period. That 6,000 period doesn't pertain to us.
Adamites.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it pertains to the Adamites. The Adamites were created by these higher evolutionary extraterrestrials for a particular reason or different reasons, to work and be a food source.
Okay.
You see, but we have been taught through religion that we all are under that umbrella of Adam and Eve, and we're not. We are separate from them.
Okay.
You see, so these Adamites, they're the ones that have caused all the atrocities, and when they were given dominion.
Have they also caused it within the family structure as well?
Yeah, because they've mixed in with us.
Okay.
Yeah, remember, you're not talking about, think about it as AnkhTwy was explaining, 4 billion years for the planet to be on this planet. How many empires and mixing and races and down to the last 6,000, even down to the last 400 years, when you're talking about the extraction of our people from Africa to the different Caribbean islands.
Kidnapping.
Look what's happened in that period of time where there's been so much mixture. So that seed, is now in us. That's why we act unruly. That's why we kill each other. That's why we do certain
How
things.
do we get it out? How do we get it out? How?
Through Wu-Sabat, the
Wu-Sabat.
teachings.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
you have to remember who you are, your culture,
And turn
how
to
you're
your
supposed to
ancestors.
live. We've not
Talked about
talked
our
much about
ancestors,
your ancestors, because your ancestors also work with you. So, like, they are there to guide and help you, but you've been cut off from them because you're told to look to someone else or worship someone that doesn't look like you. So you don't look at your familiar spirits. That's what I was trying to say to the brother before, because we say family, but we mean familiar spirits, who you're familiar with in your genetics, and that will be your ancestors. So you have to now know how to communicate with them again and how to connect with them to help you.
I need some answers.
I
need some. I won't lie to you. I need some answers, because this is just not this is not how I thought growing up I'd be seeing certain things, you know?
So now, when you talk about the ancestors,
Yeah.
you've got your relatives who have made the grade and waiting for us to reach up to
They made
that
the
level.
grade, what, the relatives, really?
Some of them.
Some
Not
of
all
them.
of them.
Not all
Some
of
of
them.
them made the grade, and they're waiting for us to raise up to that level where they could grab us, get hold of us, and raise us up. But here it is. With Wu-Sabat, you will make the grade and raise up, and your ancestors will be able to hold on to you. The ancestors who never made the grade, by you raising up, you're also helping them.
Okay.
You're helping those who have.
It's hard, you know? It's hard.
Yeah, because some of them don't want you to raise them.
Yeah, they don't. And I'm talking about your direct relative.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm talking, it could be that your mum, your dad, that direct.
This is what we were saying about familiar. Like, family is not always going to be that just because they're your mum and dad or your brother or your sister. If they haven't recognized what we're teaching, they're still feeding on 6 ether forces. This is what we were talking about, sex with the brother as well before.
Yeah.
The sex force is, if you look at the word sex, S-E-X, you can replace the E with an I, which is 6. And this deals with 6 ether, which is dealing with the 6,000 years that this sexual Leviathan, Kingu, that's all about the sex force that they utilize in media today, where a lot of people don't realize that everything is sexualized, right? But you got to raise to 9, which is dealing with our science of 9 ether, which is the complete adverse to 6. See, so as 9 ether beings, we lived a certain way. And this is the 9 level that we're trying to raise to go beyond, because 9 will be like 9 to the 9th power of 9, which is the highest you can ever get to. And they call that infinity. And that's on the physical, spiritual, mental,
and the etheric levels as well. So we are here to teach that science that will help you to understand and master the physical world, as well as the spiritual world where some of your ancestors exist. Some still exist here in the physical world, but they are under 6 ether forces, and some exist in the what we call the unseen world, and they are under 6 ether forces. But you've got those who are 9 here, and you've got those who are 9 over there. So your whole thing is to align yourself with the ones that are going to help you to move up.
And that is what we was mentioning, and we told the brother about how the Bible really is a book of necromancy. And what we're saying is that the forces that preside over the Bible are ghost forces or 6 ether lower forces, you see, to spellbind the people, you see. So what the master has done now, just like we talk about the language as well, what the master's done, the same way how they use the language, especially the English language, because the English language is the worst language, is the worst language on the planet, the master using the same English language that has helped to enforce the spell upon us. I use the word spell as in spelling. The same way how the English language has been used to enforce the spell upon us, the master is using the same language to break the spell. And to seal it, once the spell is broken, is giving us our own language. Because once you've got that own language unlocked, what we call mispatia or Sabatic, once you've got that unlocked, that's it, it's sealed. I've used it before. Our liberation and salvation lies in our language and our unification and within our culture.
Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
How do you deal with forgiving? It's just a question. How do you deal with forgiveness? I can't forgive. I won't lie to you. No, I can't. I can't forgive. I've tried.
It's not your duty to forgive.
Is it not?
No.
Thank you. Because I've been searching within myself that an act has been done that I can't oversee it. I can't, and I can't fake it either.
That's what Happy Ray was saying, that all you're doing is temporarily transferring that guilt.
Okay.
So you can't really forgive something that natural nature is going to take care of anyway. Because no matter what you do, natural nature has already decided that.
That's part of the karmic thing.
Oh, brilliant.
Because you leave it into the hands of nature.
And
nature will bring the balance.
And
You with me?
No, that's beautiful because it's been too long. And I just see certain things happening and it seems like nothing's getting done with it.
Something is getting done.
Is it now? Okay.
But while that is getting done, what you used to be doing, focus on or concentrate on, is you elevating your
I do, but now I need it a different way now, as you were saying, you know?
Raise your frequency, raise your vibrations, because this is what's happening. Like we said before, people come here and they hear this Wu-Sabat. It's not because of luck. It's because your ancestors are guiding you to hear. There's something that we've got that you need to hear to elevate you and take you to the next level.
And in religion, what they do is trick you to think that someone else has done the work for you. Like Jesus has already come and has died for your sins, so you don't have to do anything anymore, and just put it all on him. Like he's going to come back and make everything good.
Like that,
But when you start to, when is that? Because we've been waiting for a long time. It's over 2,000 years. And he says, I'll be back soon. I don't know how you define soon, but over 2,000 years. Soon. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I said to you, I'll be back soon, and I left, and you were here waiting for me for 2,000 years.
I'll be like, damn, what's going on there?
Right. And our grandparents, great-great-parents, they've been waiting for this, and it's not happened. But the time now is the time we were talking about, known as now, from the year 2000. So in our world, we deal with now, because now is always constant. There's a then in the past, there's a then in the future, but now connects to both of them and is always happening now. So we deal with the solutions now. We're not waiting for no one to come. And that's what, when we mentioned the AnkhTwy, that's the representation of that double resurrection. Because we don't have to wait to die before you're going to get, as they say,
rewards.
And when you ask them, what am I going to actually get? All of them just talk about gardens and milk and honey that you're going to get in heaven. I'm like, I can go to the supermarket and get it,
or you can
right now.
Something.
I can make it myself. So they're promising you what we call pie in the sky. There's nothing that, no one ain't coming to save you but yourself. The helping hand you're looking for is at the end of your own arm. And But what that does, it delays you so you don't put the work in. It's like, imagine we got an exam we got to study for. And I said, oh, don't study, don't go to classes, don't revise, just don't worry.
Just wing it.
Yeah, just wing it. And then I'm there studying and preparing, and on the last day before the exam, you're now going to be what? You're going to be in crisis.
Yes.
They call it Christ. You're going to be in crisis because now you're panicking, you're not prepared, and you're worrying, oh, am I going to pass? And then you're going to go there sweating. Whereas the person who actually took the time to work on themselves, study, prepare, done the mock exams, they go into the exam with great confidence and they're ready to ace it. See, so what happens in religion, it just makes you feel like you should be idle. A-I-D-L-E. Yeah, so you're worshipping idly, like you're not doing anything, but they make a play on words when they say idol, I-D-O-L. You see, so they get you to be like idolizing superstars, basketball singers, and all of those people, a lot of the times, they're tools that are being used to waste your time, right? Wu-Sabat is, we're in a day and time where all of that God games and religious games are over. We have to deal with actual facts and truth in its most purest form. And some people can't handle the truth and they're not ready for the truth. So they want to put their head down in the sand and like just still deal with religion because they're not ready to make that graduation or change from believing to knowing. And then knowing means you have to put that knowledge into action, or else knowledge is in vain. Were you gonna say?
Yeah, and it's beliefs. You know, we talk about the word belief Friday this morning. It's our belief system that has kept us in captivity. You know, once we break those chains of belief and transcend into knowing, the doors will open up. You know what I mean? The doors open up.
And that's what we keep going to words. We keep going to words. You know, the master teacher has always explained to us the key is in the words, because once you can see the words, your eyes do start to open up. With me, and like we just used the example when you asked, you said the word I'm a queen. Yeah. We explained, and now the revelation is there. It's like, oh, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I've been using this all my life.
All this time I've been parading myself. I'm a queen, but wow.
Yeah. What when you hear Wu-Sabat, what you're receiving is the master key. Remember, the key doesn't open the doors; it unlocks the doors.
Okay.
It unlocks locked doors. And you are the one who will open the door. But once the door is open, start walking through the open door. And as you continue on this journey, the doors will start to fly open till you reach a point whereby there is no door. You realize there was never no door. You realize that you are the master.
Exactly.
Wow.
Remember, the slave master.
Yeah.
You cannot. You and the slave master cannot worship the same God, because it doesn't make sense. So when you're looking at the Bible and religion, this was something that was beaten into you.
Yes.
Where you had a culture where someone came along, kidnapped you, and said, "Forget who you are, forget your name. Your name is Kunta Kinte. No, it isn't. It's Toby.
Yeah."
Whip you to the point where no, it's Kinte, no, it's not, it's Toby. After you get whipped so many times, you say, okay, it's Toby.
It's Toby.
and this is what happened with your culture, your language, your heritage, everything.
Yeah.
So today now, you're like remembering who you really are and like, what is my name? What is my language? What is my culture? Who are my ancestors? And that's where you have to start to connect back to so that you can break that whole slavery mentality. Were you going to say something?
No. I was just going to add. Yeah, I mean, it's all parcels.
I needed
the memory.
this. I won't lie to you. I needed this. 100% Where's Kingsley. I needed it. I did. Honestly, I
think that's your
needed it.
camera.
Oh, I needed it. People, trust me. I don't care. I needed it. Believe me.
Yeah.
There's. I don't know if you've ever done any research on epigenetics.
Not really. No.
Just go on one of these channels and just type in TED Talks, epigenetics.
Epigenetics. Epi.
Epi. Epi
Epigenetics.
means on top of your genes.
Okay.
Yeah, like when you talk about the epicenter of an earthquake,
Yeah.
it's normally the top part, and then it starts the earthquake taking place, the pressure, and
So this
energy.
part is the tip of it.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
So within epigenetics, something is activated, switched on or switched off.
Right.
Over the 400 years during that kidnapping of our race, and 6,000 years during the whole evolutionary cycle of what is called the moon cycle that we teach about, our genes have been switched off. Our memories of our past has been switched off. So now we're in that cycle where your genes are now coming back on. Some of us are waking up quicker than others, and others are still trapped in the poison known as religion. You with me? And it's down to, that's why we're here. The revelation of that incarnated being, is here, and he's teaching his students. We are those warriors.
That's right.
That we are those angels that they talk about. Do you know what I'm saying? In your revelation stories. What does the word angel mean? It means messenger. We are those messengers. They're looking for these wings and all this, do you know what I mean? It's not that.
Okay.
It's we are those messengers that are teaching this information in this day and time.
Another word to research is quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crikey.
Right.
That's
So
a word and a
that's
half.
a
isn't
word
it?
and a half.
That is
Yeah.
a really entwined
So
word.
just think telephone call.
Right.
Okay,
So
quantum entanglement.
yeah, because
Mercy.
we are all connected in one way or form. This is why people teach about universal things like, oh, all we need is love. But then love gets desecrated in a lustful, like he was saying before,
Yes.
where the media will portray what they're calling love, but that's not divine love. That's not love that is unconditional.
Yeah,
So
it's
when we're
like a
talking about-
surface love, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's like
They're
a
not-
surface love where, oh, Valentine's Day, so,
Yeah.
I'm going to buy flowers and buy chocolates and all of that. But divine love is what, at the heart of natural nature, everything is connected. Happy Ray mentioned that we call that Pa'ut, or the all expanding. So quantum deals with the science of how things began. Like when we say quantum, we're talking about like when you start breaking things down to its tiniest particles and how those particles are actually connected together, because it's all dealing with energy.
Yeah.
So we're entangled wherever we are on the planet.
Right.
And once your mind is free, you're automatically united wherever you are, globally and beyond to the cosmos with our ancestors. And so what you're able to then do is, like my brother said, is make a telephone to the Pathites, and we call it telephone, right? Or telepathy, when meaning you're communicating mind to mind.
To mind.
So you're able to, anything you need, all you have to do is make that correct phone call. So what religion does is it gives you the wrong number. So imagine you're trying to call someone you know
can't get through.
can't get through. But when you get the right sequence, because the numbers, like your DNA, like you got 2 strands of DNA, and then you got the middle part with the codes that you program. And so when you're hearing this information, what it's doing is just reprogramming your DNA. And so now you're able to connect with any being in the cosmos and pull that information in.
Yeah.
But we've actually got one who's the best person that's plugged in to all of the ancestors. We'll call the overseers, and he's here now incarnated, and he can basically be used as that vessel. You can say an avatar, you can call it in Islam an Mutajassid, you can call it an incarnation, but he's now able to, beings can speak through him and give us information. So all these 9 elders, or what people call like the 24 elders and the beings that have come before, he's able to still channel them. And this is how he set the record straight on all the teachings of the people that came before, whether it's the one with Elijah Muhammad, whether it was who we call Jesus, all the people that have come before, when they're dealing with higher knowledge, it connects to the same source. But then you've got the lower beings that have desecrated it like I said, giving you the wrong telephone number. So
Yeah.
we're here to give you
The
the
red
right,
flag.
to
Kings,
give you
you're
the
that
right
flag.
number.
You're the flag. Go away.
But did you get all your questions?
Yeah, no, it
Okay.
was, honestly, thank you so much, because I needed this. That's all I can say.
Thank
is I
you.
needed this.
Yeah.
Whether it's right or wrong, I needed this. Honestly, I knew I needed something, but I needed this for a long time, and I needed to hear it
Yeah, like
differently.
Happy Ray says,
You know?
now you hold the key to open the door
Wow.
and walk through it, and
right.
the rest of your journey will be down to you. So
You're
but
very
we're here.
fortunate, because me and Ken was talking on the way up here, is that we had to take that long road. You know, it wasn't. We had to use audio tapes back in the day, and we never had direct
Internet.
direct
Lots of
access.
books.
Okay, you had to go through that
You know,
journey like that.
We did had to go to. We never really had, easy accessibility to the master physically.
Yeah.
And now we have, and now you're very fortunate.
I'm grateful. I
to
tell you,
have
is that the
us.
right word to say? I'm grateful, because I needed it 100%.